Jieling Yage recalled the harsh words others used to insult her when she was young. Idiot, vile creature, no one wants you. You and your mother are both vile. Her childhood was overshadowed by such words, but all she could do was helplessly cry and scream, I am not an idiot. I don't know what you're talking about. Later, she was killed. Her untimely death gave her a chance to be reborn, which meant starting everything over. In this reincarnation, she gained a miraculous space in the Hong Mong heaven. It belonged to her golden fingers. Clenching her fists tightly, she remembered those who had bullied her, like the cousin who ordered people to bully her, catch that idiot. Those who had humiliated her, pointing at her and cursing, what are you? Just an idiot daring to oppose this young master. She vowed to repay them tenfold. Using her martial arts, she fought back against those who bullied her, charging bravely and shouting, die. A single strike from her sent the person crashing into the wall. She coldly swore, I, Jieling Yage, will never lose to anyone. In a room, Jieling Yage was surrounded by a group of people, her hands restrained. The leader shouted, idiot, vile thing, hold her tight for me. Jieling Yage couldn't resist them and could only cry helplessly. Then the leader forced something into her mouth, eat it. Eat all of it for me. Jieling Yage clutched her throat in pain and was subsequently killed by him. Jieling Yage jolted awake, panting. Nanny Lu, outside the door, asked, Miss, what's the matter? Jieling Yage calmed herself and replied, Nanny Lu, it's nothing, just a bad dream. You can go rest now. Nanny Lu, reassured, said, yes. Jieling Yage held her forehead, thinking, why do I keep dreaming of that time? She looked at the mark on her hand, clenched her fist, and muttered to herself, I'm no longer the idiot I once was. Those who bullied and humiliated me will pay 100-fold. So she sat cross-legged and practiced her internal martial arts. Early in the morning, Nanny Lu came to wake her, Miss, it's time to get up and wash. She smiled and replied, yes. She was Jieling Yage, 13 years old, the third young lady of the Jie family. Just as she finished dressing, a group of people kicked the door open. The leader sneered, oh, I heard you've regained your senses. Truly a vile person with a vile fate. Even after being beaten half to death, you still managed to regain your senses. He was Jie Treng, 12 years old, the sixth young master of the Jie family. Nanny Lu, hearing him speak, exclaimed, Sixth young master, how can you speak to the third young lady like that? She is your aunt by blood. Jie Treng angrily retorted, what do you mean by blood, aunt? She's nothing more than a worthless creature, bringing shame to the Jie family. Behind Nanny Lu, Jieling Yage frowned and asked, say that again. Jie Treng laughed loudly, what if I say it 100 more times? You're an idiot. Your father beat your mother seriously for another woman, drove her out of the house, and brought shame to our Jie family. You and your mother are unwanted vile creatures. Jieling Yage, enraged, clenched her fists, recalling the insults from her past life, idiot, vile thing, just an idiot. Eating just like your mother, both are vile. Idiot, vile, unwanted. You're just as vile as your mother. She shouted in anger, if I don't beat you today, I'm not Jieling Yage. Jie Treng sneered, idiot. Authority of the family. Move aside, I'll show this fool the difference between a genius and a waste. His followers encouraged, go, young master, beat her to death. Jieling Yage struck Jie Treng, causing him to stagger back. He was shocked, first level of body refining? Since when was this idiot so powerful? Jieling Yage folded her arms and replied, so you do have a brain. Jie Treng, furious, Jieling Yage, you dare to learn martial arts secretly. Even if you learned, what good is it? The punch you threw, I'll return it 100-fold. D. With that, he charged at her. Nanny Lu, frightened, said, Miss, run, that's the Ice Thunder Fist. Jieling Yage thought, I've been waiting for you. But before she could block, a force sent Jie Treng flying. Everyone was startled, Jie third young lady. Jie Treng was thrown against the wall, coughing up blood. He clutched his injured arm, angrily saying, Jie Huangwei, how dare you hit me? My father won't forgive you. Jie Huangwei, furious, replied, who is your father? If he comes, I'll hit him just the same. Jie Treng was helped up by his servants and left. Before leaving, he threatened, wait. I'll tell Grandpa. Jie Huangwei didn't respond, indifferently watching him leave. Behind her mother, Jieling Yage stuck out her tongue, making a face at him. Then, Jie Huangwei looked at Jieling Yage, and she ran into her mother's arms, hugging her and calling, Mother. Nanny Lu happily said to Jie Huangwei, Miss, the young miss is no longer an idiot, she has recovered. Jie Huangwei joyfully cupped her daughter's cheeks. Jieling Yage said to her mother, Mother, I want to learn martial arts. I want to be outstanding and take you away from here. Jie Huanghui, moved to tears, said, martial arts training is very tough, it's not something that can be achieved overnight. Have you made up your mind, Lingyu? Jieling Yage, hugging her mother's waist, replied, I will never give up. I want them to know that Jieling Yage is not an idiot. That night, as Jieling Yage was preparing to sleep, Jie Huanghui knocked on her door. Lingyu, are you asleep? She opened the door to see her mother holding a potted plant. Jie Huanghui said, I have a essence-gathering herb. It can absorb the essence of heaven and earth. Keep it in your room, it will help with your cultivation. She placed it on the windowsill. Jieling Yage said, Mother, essence-gathering herb is so precious, and your injuries are not healed yet. You should keep it. Jie Huanghui patted Jieling Yage's head and said, essence-gathering herb has no effect on your mother's injury, only a 5th-grade pill can cure it. Jieling Yage asked her, if we have a 5th-grade pill, will my mother's wound heal? Jie Huanghui laughed and replied, silly girl, 5th-grade pills are very rare in the city, let alone in a small place like Shufeng town. With that, she led Jieling Yage to bed, saying, rest well tonight. Tomorrow, during martial arts training, I won't go easy on you. Jieling Yage replied, I won't give up either. Jie Huanghui smiled, kissed her forehead, and said, sweet dreams, my dear. Essence-gathering herb emitted a spiritual energy that entered Jieling Yage's body. She dreamed of entering a forest, where a stone tablet read, Hong Mong Heaven. In this place called Hong Mong Heaven, she saw many essence-gathering herb plants emitting abundant spiritual energy that flowed into her body. As she absorbed the energy, she suddenly heard her mother's voice, Lingyu, it's morning, time to practice martial arts. She woke up, got out of bed, and went to train. Afterward, she returned to her courtyard. Nanny Lu was waiting with a face towel, calling, Miss Jieling Yage. Jieling Yage took the towel, sighed as she wiped her sweat, then sat down to meditate. Jie Huanghui approached in surprise, asking, did you have a breakthrough? Jieling Yage opened her eyes, stood up, and asked, Mother, why is there more spiritual energy in my dantian? Jie Huanghui explained, that's because you just broke through to the 2nd level of body refinement. Jieling Yage happily said, Mother, that day when I sparred with Jie Treng, he used a certain fist technique. I want to learn that technique too. Jie Huanghui pinched Jieling Yage's nose and said, just learn to walk and already want to run. Jie Treng's technique is a basic martial art of the Jie family called Ice Thunder Fist. Once you reach the 3rd level of body refinement, I'll teach you. Jieling Yage playfully stuck out her tongue and said, I will definitely achieve it. Jie Huanghui smiled, took her hand, and said, Jieling Yage, go take a bath, you're all sweaty. Jieling Yage obediently replied, yes. When she entered the room, she stared at the essence-gathering herb pot, held out her finger, and saw the spiritual energy had dissipated. Startled, she was interrupted by Nanny Lu running in and shouting, Miss, something's wrong. The 3rd young lady was just summoned by the family head. Jieling Yage angrily asked, what did you say? Then she quickly ran off. Nanny Lu called after her, 3rd young lady, slow down. At the Jie family meeting hall, the old family head sat in the central seat. Jie Huangshang led Jie Treng in to complain, Father, you must seek justice for Zheng Yi. In 2 months, the family competition will start. Zheng Yi had hopes of reaching the 3rd round, but now she's had her hands broken by that woman. Forget the competition, she can't even practice martial arts anymore. Jie Treng, hearing this, called out, Father. The old family head looked at Jie Huanghui, closed his eyes sadly, remembering when she was young, and he carried her on his shoulders, and she happily said, I love Father the most. As she grew older, he taught her martial arts. She promised, I'll become as strong as you. His final memory was of her kneeling in the rain outside the manor gate, saying, Father, take care of yourself. Your unfilial daughter must leave. Angrily, the old family head shouted, kneel down. Jie Huanghui immediately knelt. At that moment, Jieling Yage ran in and said, it is not my mother who should kneel. Jie Huanghui quickly approached her and scolded, Lingyu, who allowed you to come here? Jieling Yage clung to her mother's hand and said, Jie family rules punish those who are at fault. My mother did nothing wrong, they are the ones who should kneel. Jie Huangshang angrily scolded, you little brat, don't slander people. Your mother broke the family rules, bullied the weak, and deserves 2 strokes. Jieling Yage replied, 2 strokes for bullying the weak, 2 strokes for breaking family rules? Then I ask, what is this? She tore off her outer garment, revealing her bruised body, accusing, Jie Treng and Huang Gue have been taking out their anger on me for years. What should their punishment be? Embezzling monthly allowances, deceiving superiors and subordinates, how should they be punished? The other elders murmured, oh my, how could there be so many injuries? The old family head slammed his chair and shouted, outrageous. Jie Huangshang and Jie Trang immediately knelt and pleaded, Father, I didn't know about this. Family head, spare us. Jie Huangwei angrily rushed at Jie Huangsheng, shouting, Jie Huangsheng, you've raised your son well. Jie Lingyage held her back and said, Mother, I'll avenge myself. Sooner or later, they'll pay for what they've done. Jie Huangsheng, hearing this, thought that these two were a threat that must be eliminated. The old family head stood up in anger and said, Jie Huangsheng, for not managing the household properly, you are to receive 20 strokes. Jie Trang is to be confined for a month. Everyone else, leave. The two of them responded, yes. As Jie Huangwei and Jie Lingyage were leaving, the old family head called out, wait. Lang Yu is already 13. Starting tomorrow, she will train at the martial arts hall. Jie Huangshang asked in shock, Father, why? The old family head scolded, be quiet. I'll deal with you two later. Jie Lingyage happily said, thank you, grandfather. The old family head nodded, saying, take your mother home. What happened before must not happen again. Jie Lingyage smiled and replied, yes. Outside, Jie Lingyage held her mother's hand and said, grandfather is really a kind-hearted person who speaks harshly but means well. He actually cares a lot about you. Jie Huangwei replied, if that were the case, he wouldn't have let Jie Huangshang off so lightly. Jie Lingyage explained, Mother, they are also his children. He wouldn't want to punish them too harshly. Besides, this is a family matter. Spreading it outside would harm the family's reputation. Jie Huangwei pinched Jie Lingyage's nose and said, you're the most understanding, you little rascal. Don't be late for martial arts training tomorrow, okay? Jie Lingyage happily replied, I promise to complete the task. The next day, at the martial arts hall, Jie Yinzan, 14 years old and Jie Lingyage's cousin, approached her and asked, Ling Yu, do you need me to take you home? Jie Lingyage smiled and replied, no need, Yinzan, I need to go to the market. Jie Yinzan asked in confusion, what for? Jie Lingyage replied, to buy something for my mother. Jie Yinzan whispered to her, actually, I'm worried that even though Jie Trang is under house arrest, he might secretly seek revenge. What will you do if he attacks you on the street? Jie Lingyage curiously asked, is Jie Trang really that powerful? Jie Yinzan scoffed, that kid has no real skills. He's just a bully. The one you should watch out for is his sister, Jie Lu Wan. At that moment, the teacher appeared behind them and asked, class is over? You're not leaving, staying to practice more? Jie Yinzan quickly pulled Jie Lingyage away, waving goodbye, teacher. Once outside, Jie Yinzan waved and said, see you tomorrow, Ling Yu. Jie Lingyage waved back, see you tomorrow. She cheerfully said, all right, time to go to the market. At the market, the noise of people buying and selling was loud. Jie Lingyage, wearing a red cloak, counted the money in her hand, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. She sighed and said, no matter how much I count, it never increases. I have to find a way to make more money to buy medicine for my mother. She saw an herbal medicine shop and went inside, telling the shop assistant, I want to sell gathering grass. The shop assistant looked at the gathering grass on the counter and dismissively waved his hand, saying, we don't buy herbs of unknown origin here. Jie Lingyage angrily thought, you contemptuous dog. Just as she was about to leave with the gathering grass, the shop owner hurried over and asked, customer, please wait. Could you let me take a look at this gathering grass? Jie Lingyage handed it to him, saying, take it. The shop owner examined it and was surprised, this is gathering grass that has been growing for 5 years. Miss, I apologize for the earlier disrespect. We will buy this gathering grass. For 3 years of growth, it is 100 coins per plant, 5 years is 200 coins, 10 years is 500 coins, and 15 years or more is 800 coins. Jie Lingyage nodded and replied, okay, money in one hand, goods in the other. Jie Lingyage played with the money bag in her hand, thinking, 1,000 coins, but it's still far from the hundreds of thousands of gold needed for a 5th grade pill. When she got home, she excitedly said, Mother, Nanny Lu, I'm back. Nanny Lu asked her, Miss, why are you back so late? She replied, I practiced a bit longer. Is Mother home? Nanny Lu answered, Miss, your mother went up the mountain and won't be back for a few days. She told Nanny Lu, I'm all sweaty, I want to bathe. Can you prepare the water for me? Just as she was about to undress, Nanny Lu stopped her, don't take it all off, you'll catch a cold. I'll go heat the water for you. Half an hour later, she went to the bath, took out a prepared bottle of herbal medicine, poured it into the tub, and got in. After soaking for a while, spiritual energy flowed into her body, but then she suddenly spat out blood. Half a month later, Jieling Yage continued to bathe in the medicinal water. Spiritual energy kept entering her body, and as soon as she opened her eyes, the spiritual energy burst forth, causing the tub to explode. Nanny Lu worriedly asked, "Miss, what happened?" Jieling Yage put on her clothes and told Nanny Lu, "It's okay, I broke through again." Jie Huangwei, hearing the noise, came in, extremely surprised, body refining 3rd level. Jieling Yage happily told her mother, "Mother, I broke through, I'm now at the body refining 3rd level and can learn basic martial arts." Jie Huangwei patted Jieling Yage's head and smiled, "No rush today, you just stabilized. Rest well, and we'll practice tomorrow." Jieling Yage nodded, "Yes." The next morning, in the yard, Jie Huangwei explained, "In our dynasty, martial arts are divided into 9 grades. Today I will teach you Thunderbolt Fist. It is a 9th grade martial art, a unique fist technique created by our ancestor. It is as powerful as thunder and as swift as lightning." After being taught by her mother, Jieling Yage immediately practiced, punching a stone, which shattered. Jieling Yage joyfully exclaimed, "Mother, I succeeded, I'm really strong." Jie Huangwei praised her, "Although it's just a single bolt of lightning, it's quite impressive for a beginner. But don't get complacent just because you can generate 1 bolt. Ling Yage, attack me." Jieling Yage immediately said, "Mother, please guide me." She then continuously attacked her mother. Old Master Jie watched everything from nearby. 2 days later, Jie Shan and Jieling Yage were resting under a tree. Jie Shan complimented her, "Ling Yage, your skin is really beautiful. We've been training in the sun, why haven't you tanned at all?" Jieling Yage replied, "I usually soak in herbal water, which makes my skin lighter. Maybe that's why. Do you want to try?" Jie Shan sighed, "Ling Yage, you're really nice." At that moment, Jie Treng appeared and said, "Jieling Yage, are you bold enough to come to the martial arts hall?" Jie Shan stood up to protect Ling Yage. "She is the daughter of the 3rd aunt, also a Jie, why can't she come to the martial arts hall?" Jie Treng scoffed, "What kind of Jie family member is she? Her mother was just a lowly woman expelled by the Hong mansion." Jieling Yage asked, "Lowly woman? Who are you talking about?" Jie Treng disdainfully replied, "I'm talking about you, you lowly spawn." Jieling Yage laughed at that. Jie Treng angrily cursed, "You little bitch." Then he charged up his energy. Jie Shan was shocked, body refining 4th level. Jieling Yage thought, no wonder he has backers and isn't afraid. Jie Huangshang didn't hesitate to use medicine to heal Jie Treng's hands. Jie Treng rushed over with a shout, "Die!" Jieling Yage also raised her hand to block. Their fists collided, creating a powerful force. Jie Treng was shocked by the force from Jieling Yage's fist, but Jieling Yage's strength was greater, pushing him back. Jie Treng's face darkened in anger, shouting, "Jieling Yage, how dare you secretly learn Jie family martial arts? I will report this to the elder." Jieling Yage crossed her arms coldly, "Jie Treng, besides tattling, what else can you do? Thunderbolt Fist was taught to me by my mother openly, not violating any family rules." Jie Treng, unwilling to accept it, furiously shouted, "You're lying, unless you broke through to body refining 3rd level." Jieling Yage retorted, "If you can break through to the 4th level, why can't I reach the 3rd level?" Jie Shan stepped forward, shielding Jieling Yage behind her, pointing at Jie Treng and scolding, "Jie Treng, enough. Ling Yage has been practicing martial arts for half a month and can already generate 2 bolts of lightning. What about you? Besides being a so-called genius relying on money and medicine, what else do you have?" Jie Zheng did not believe it and angrily retorted, "Jie Shan, you are just a useless person. If you have the guts, let's have a duel." At that moment, the teacher appeared among the students and asked loudly, "What's going on here? Daring to cause trouble in the martial arts hall, are you asking for a beating?" The other students were startled when they saw him. Jie Zheng immediately restrained herself, not daring to act wildly anymore. The teacher scolded, "Are you all here for fun? Disperse at once." Then he pointed at Jieling Yage and Jie Shan, "And you too, go home now." Jie Zheng gritted her teeth and said, "Jieling Yage, if you have the guts, let's meet at the family's contest." Jieling Yage calmly agreed, "Fine. And if you lose?" Jie Zheng laughed confidently, "Me lose? If you lose, you have to crawl like a dog for 3 rounds. If I lose, you can do whatever you want." Jieling Yage nodded, agreed. "Let's have our cousin witness this." Jie Shan worriedly called out, "Ling Yage," but Jieling Yage and Jie Zheng still shook hands to seal their vow. The teacher saw this and thought, these children of noble families are really a headache. After class, she immediately ran back to the courtyard, joyfully saying, "I'm home." Jieling Yage immediately sat on her bed, channeled her energy, and entered Hong Mong Heaven. Then, she was surprised to see that all the energy-gathering herbs had been uprooted. She saw a purple-bordered fox digging around and approached it, thinking, Hong Mong Heaven still has animals. She stood behind the fox, which immediately became alert, backing away and growling. Jieling Yage exclaimed, so adorable. Little one, do you live here? As she sat down and reached out her hand, the fox ran into the mist. She felt regretful, what a pity, it hides in the white mist. The next day, Jie Huangwei began packing her belongings into a bag to prepare for mountain training. Jieling Yage curiously asked, Mother, why do you train on the mountain instead of at the martial arts hall? Jie Huangwei patted Jieling Yage's shoulder and said, You have grown up and can distinguish right from wrong. I have no other wishes, just hope that in a month, you can progress enough to defeat Jiezheng. Jieling Yage eagerly replied, I will take back everything, I will make Jiezheng kneel and apologize to us. At 7-Star Mountain, a rabbit was grazing when it was suddenly struck by lightning, killing it instantly. Jieling Yage joyfully ran over, grabbed its leg, and exclaimed, There's meat for tonight. She immediately lit a fire, set up a spit, and roasted the rabbit. The rabbit turned a beautiful golden color, dripping with fragrant oil. When it was done, Jieling Yage tore off a leg and began eating, her face glowing with happiness. Then she remembered something, entered the space, and called to the little fox in Hong Mong Heaven. Little fox, come here, I brought you some meat. From the mist, the little fox came out. Jieling Yage held out the rabbit leg, saying, The roasted meat smells so good. The little fox approached, bit the rabbit leg, and immediately ran back into the mist. Jieling Yage watched it joyfully. On the second day, Jieling Yage brought a hot, fragrant roasted chicken. On the third day, it was a hot grilled fish. Each day, she brought a different dish. The little fox approached the meat, staring at it. As Jieling Yage reached out to touch its ear, it squeaked and arrogantly turned away. It even lifted its leg and urinated on her shoe. Then it grabbed the meat and ran into the mist. Jieling Yage stood frozen, then laughed angrily, this creature. After that, Jieling Yage exited Hong Mong Heaven. As soon as she came out, something attacked her. She turned and saw the Iron Arm Monkey, a high-ranking carnivorous beast with a strong territorial instinct, growling at her. Jieling Yage thought, it seems I accidentally entered the Iron Arm Monkey's territory. The Iron Arm Monkey immediately swung its claws at her. She dodged, causing its claws to pierce through a tree trunk. The Iron Arm Monkey, even angrier, broke the tree and attacked her again. She ran away. The Iron Arm Monkey chased her madly. They fought all over the mountain, creating loud noises. Jieling Yage kept running from the Iron Arm Monkey until she saw a hole in a tree trunk. She immediately crawled in. Inside the trunk was an empty space, which surprised her, and she fell. The Iron Arm Monkey roared angrily outside. Jieling Yage fell to the bottom, landing painfully on her butt. She found a torch, looked around, and saw many jars of wine. She approached one, opened it, and murmured, could this be the Iron Arm Monkey's storage? She smelled the wine and remarked, I didn't expect it to be so potent. This is good stuff. She immediately drank the whole jar. After drinking, she felt dizzy and burped. She then fell asleep. 3 days later, Jieling Yage woke up groggily, rubbed her eyes. She looked at her hands and exclaimed, filthy. What happened? She moved her arm but accidentally hit the wall, causing it to dent. She was astonished, body training stage 5. I broke through 2 stages at once. I have to thank the Iron Arm Monkey for this. She grabbed a jar of wine. While walking, she heard a roar behind her. The Iron Arm Monkey rushed towards her. She dodged it and thought, after just 3 days, why is the Iron Arm Monkey so slow? She dodged it. Before it could turn around, she punched it, knocking it out. The Iron Arm Monkey was hit by lightning and fell, sticking its butt in the air. In Hong Mong Heaven, the little fox lay on the ground, bored, waiting for Jieling Yage. Its stomach growled with hunger. Then it heard footsteps and ran to Jieling Yage, whining sadly. Jieling Yage petted the little fox, gave it a piece of meat, and said, sorry, I haven't come for a few days and left you hungry, right? The little fox happily licked her hand. Jieling Yage said, consider it me raising you. Unexpectedly, the little fox bit her hand, making her cry out, ouch. Then a magic circle appeared between the little fox and Jieling Yage. She looked at her hand, realizing it was a spiritual mark. Jieling Yage looked around and saw Hong Mong Heaven had upgraded. The little fox ran around her legs. Suddenly, golden letters appeared before Jieling Yage. She looked up at the letters and then at the fox mark on her hand, astonished. The little fox bit her pant leg and pulled her. Jieling Yage asked, what's wrong? The little fox ran off. Jialing Yage quickly followed, asking, "Little Chit-Chit, where are you going?" The little fox ran off and led her to a small house. Jialing Yage opened the door and saw many books on the shelf. She picked up a book from the top, which was titled The 13 True Forms of the Ghost Gate. Then, Jialing Yage read through the books on the shelf and sighed, "I never expected that the Hongmeng space would have two masters, both skilled in both poison and medicine, one who kills, and one who saves. How interesting. Since I've come across these books, it seems I'm fated to have a connection with these two seniors." Jialing Yage expressed her gratitude to the two seniors and then knelt down, clasped her hands, and bowed before the bookshelf. Outside Jie Huangsheng's study, Jie Treng walked in and asked, "Father, did you call for me?" Jie Huangsheng turned around and asked Jie Treng, "I heard that you made a bet with that fool." Jie Treng was startled and was about to explain. Jie Huangsheng said, "Zhengyi, don't be afraid. Aren't you confident about this clan test?" Jie Treng smiled confidently and said, "That Jialing Yage wants to make a name for herself in the clan test, but unfortunately for her, she ran into me." Jie Huangsheng patted Jie Treng on the shoulder and said, "I naturally trust your abilities. Practice well over the next few days, I believe in you." Jie Treng immediately responded, "I will not disappoint your expectations." At Jialing Yage's residence, after finishing trimming the trees, Jie Huangwei anxiously asked Nanny Lu, "Has Ling Yage not returned yet?" Nanny Lu brought tea and replied, "Not yet." Jie Huangwei smiled and said, "She must still be practicing, let's not disturb her." 7 days later, after practicing, Jialing Yage happily picked up a secret manual and said, "This manual is truly wonderful. I've finished reading it, now let's see how to use the mental power." In the Quaji forest, Jialing Yage approached a tree, touched it, and murmured, "Greenwood fruit, greenwood fruit, greenwood fruit." But the tree did not move. Jialing Yage then sat down and sighed, "I'm so tired, I was indeed a bit too hasty." She picked up a leaf and thought, "It seems I should start with smaller things first." So she moved the leaf. Jialing Yage stood up, motivated, and said, "Let's continue practicing." At the competition arena, after Jie Treng defeated the next opponent, he called out, "Where is that fool Jialing Yage? It's been 3 days and she hasn't shown up." Jie Family's elder, who was sitting in the stands drinking tea, opened his eyes and looked down when he heard Jie Treng call out about the fool Jialing Yage. Jie and Shan in the crowd shouted, "Jie Treng, don't be too excessive." Jie Treng disdainfully smiled and said, "It's been 3 days, could it be that she's going to flee the battlefield? Jie and Shan, if you guarantee she won't run away, then dare you say Jialing Yage won't escape?" Jie and Shan immediately jumped onto the stage and said to Jie Treng, "Don't be too unreasonable. Since Ling Yage is not here, I will fight you on her behalf." Meanwhile, in the Quaji forest, Jialing Yage finally absorbed the greenwood fruit. She joyfully exclaimed, "I did it. I succeeded." The little fox, seeing its master's joy, also jumped up happily. Suddenly, Jialing Yage realized with a start, "Oh no, I forgot the clan test is today." At the martial arts arena, Jie and Shan was pushed back by Jie Treng and sat down, gasping for breath. Jie Treng continued using the Ice Thunder Fist, smiling maniacally as he charged and shouted, "You're asking for death." Jie Family's elder, sitting in the stands, looked down, and although he said nothing, his hand made a movement to deflect Jie Treng's Ice Thunder Fist, saving Jie and Shan. Jie Treng clicked his tongue in frustration when he missed his attack. At that moment, Jialing Yage's voice rang out from below, "Jie Treng, your opponent is me." Jie Treng looked over upon hearing this. The crowd murmured, "Is this Jialing Yage? Why does she look so dirty? I heard she's the foolish daughter of Jie 3rd Mississippi." Jie and Shan, seeing Jialing Yage return, joyfully said, "Ling Yage, you're back." Jialing Yage jumped onto the stage, approached, and helped Jie and Shan up, saying, "In Shan, I've caused you trouble." Jie and Shan replied, "It's okay, it's good that you could come." Jie Treng disdainfully said, "Jialing Yage, you dare to show up? Unfortunately, you're too late. Today is the last day of the clan test, you've lost for sure." Jie and Shan stepped down from the stage to make way for Jialing Yage. Jialing Yage then said to Jie Treng, "That's not necessarily the case. The clan test allows newcomers to choose the top 10 challengers at will. The winner can replace the first challenger, which is you." Jie Treng immediately charged forward using the Ice Thunder Fist. Jialing Yage also fought back. Jie Treng soon realized the 5 elements thunder, and was immediately knocked off the stage. His jade pendant was broken, and he spat out a mouthful of blood, murmuring, "How could this be? 5 elements." Jialing Yage, on the stage, said, "Jie Treng, if you dare to make a bet, you must accept defeat. Where's the promised compensation?" Jie Treng, enraged, said, Jieling Yage, don't push your luck. Jieling Yage frowned and asked, Jie Treng, do you want to go back on your word? Jieling Yage approached and picked up Jie Treng's jade pendant. Jie Treng, furious, shouted, Jieling Yage, after all, we are cousins. Jieling Yage walked closer to Jie Treng and coldly asked, Cousins? When you insulted me back then, why didn't you mention being cousins? Did Jie Huangshang teach you this way? Hearing this, Jie Huangshang clenched his fists in anger. Jieling Yage held the jade pendant and taunted Jie Treng. However, this matter is not entirely unnegotiable. Jie Treng angrily shouted, My jade pendant. Jieling Yage tossed the jade pendant up and then caught it, saying, If you want this jade pendant, then crawl 3 laps and bark like a dog, and I'll return it to you. Jie Huangsheng, unable to contain his rage, attacked Jieling Yage, angrily cursing, Despicable. Release the Xianyuan jade immediately. As the attack was about to hit Jieling Yage, Jie Family's elder immediately stood up and asked Jie Huangsheng, What are you doing? Just as the attack was about to hit Jieling Yage, a force stopped it. It turned out to be Jie Huangwei, who stood in front of Jieling Yage to protect her and simultaneously attacked Jie Huangsheng, causing him to stagger. Jie Huangsheng angrily asked Jie Huangwei, On what basis do you act so arrogantly? Jie Huangwei replied, Based on the fact that I once knocked you off the stage with a single punch. Jie Huangsheng's eyes widened in anger. Just as she appeared, the people below the stage began to discuss, Jie Huangwei, the third miss of the Jie family. It is said that the third miss was also a talented individual. Why is she here today? Jie family's elder angrily asked, What is going on? Jieling Yage, Jie Treng, both of you explain. Jie Huangsheng responded, Father, it's just a childish joke, it shouldn't be taken seriously. Jie Huangwei coldly said, Jie Huangsheng, when your son loses, it's a joke, but when my daughter loses, she has to suffer humiliation from your family. Is your son a jade, and my daughter just grass? Jie family's elder waved his hand and said, Enough. Jie Treng lost this time. If you dare to bet, you must be prepared to accept defeat. Jie Treng hurriedly shouted, Grandfather. Jie family's elder looked at Jie Huangsheng and warned, This matter is beyond your control. Jie Huangsheng had no choice but to respond, Yes. The people below discussed, he also has his day. He used to bully others every day, relying on his power. As Jie Treng struggled to get up, he spat out blood again and fell down. Jie Huangsheng immediately went to carry him and angrily said to Jieling Yage and her mother, You've gone too far. He then left. Jie Huangwei patted her daughter's head and praised, Today you did very well. Jieling Yage replied, Mother, you were also very impressive. At this moment, a girl appeared and said, I am Jianing. I hope to learn from you, Ling Yage. Jieling Yage was surprised, You want to spar with me too? Jianing replied, Yes. Jie Huangwei patted her daughter's shoulder and said, Do your best. So the two girls stepped onto the platform to prepare for battle. Jianing said to Jieling Yage, Ling Yage, I will use all my strength. Jieling Yage responded, So will I. Then Jianing used the Ligu Claw technique, while Jieling Yage used the Thunder Punch. Jianing attacked Jieling Yage, who countered with Thunder Punch. Jie family's elder stroked his beard and remarked, Thunder Punch versus Ligu Claw, these kids are impressive. After that, Jieling Yage attacked Jianing, sending her flying off the platform. Jie family's elder was astonished and said, Peak of the 4th stage of body refining. The audience below the platform was stunned and whispered among themselves. Jie and Shan ran up to the platform, happily saying to Jieling Yage, Ling Yage, you won. Jie and Shan hugged Jieling Yage. Jieling Yage smiled and asked, I didn't embarrass you, did I? Jie and Shan replied, Not at all. Jianing sat up and wiped the blood away. Jieling Yage stood in front of her and extended her hand. Jianing took Jieling Yage's hand and praised, Jianing, you are very skilled. I am truly ashamed. Jianing smiled confidently and said, Next time we spar, I might not lose to you. Jieling Yage responded, Neither will I. Then Jieling Yage and Jie Huangwei went back home. Nanny Lu greeted, Miss, you are back. After Jie Huangwei entered the room, there was a loud noise. Jieling Yage worriedly thought, Mother, what's wrong? She asked Nanny Lu, Is Mother angry with me? Nanny Lu replied, Miss, your mother is not angry with you. You were in the mountains for a month, and she couldn't eat or drink properly every day. Inside the room, Jie Huangwei was coughing. Jieling Yage thought, I must quickly earn enough money to buy medicine for my mother. In the room, Jieling Yage picked up a jade piece and mumbled, This Xianyuan jade doesn't seem special at all. Suddenly, the Xianyuan jade emitted a spiritual aura, startling her. She exclaimed, This is Ding Tuesday. Jie Huangwei asked from behind, where did you get this Xianyuan jade? Jie Lingyage happily showed the jade to her mother. Of course, I won it from that mischievous boy, Jie Treng. Jie Huangwei examined the jade and said, Jie Treng's jade was clearly of inferior quality. How did it become Xianyuan jade? This Xianyuan jade is a mid-grade spirit jade. When martial artists break through in the future, this jade in your hand will be worth 1,000 taels of silver. Keep this jade carefully. When you break through to the 5th stage of body refining, you can use this Xianyuan jade to separate the yin qi in the earth and heaven. Jie Lingyage immediately nodded and replied, I understand. She remembered and said, oh, right. Then she ran off and came back with a jar of wine, giving it to Jie Huangwei. Mother, when I was training in the mountains, I accidentally discovered a kind of wine. It helped me break through. You should drink some too, it might be good for your injuries. Jie Huangwei opened the jar, sniffed, and recognized it. It's called Tin Ho. Jie Lingyage happily praised, Mother, your skill is impressive, recognizing it with just a sniff. At that moment, a small fox jumped onto her head and then onto her shoulder. Jie Huangwei asked in surprise, what is this? Jie Lingyage smiled and introduced the little creature to her mother. This is a small animal I tamed in the mountains. I want to keep it. Both Jie Lingyage and the little fox looked at Jie Huangwei with sparkling eyes. She laughed and said, if you want to keep it, then keep it. Jie Lingyage and the little fox both laughed happily. The next morning, Jie Lingyage took the little fox outside to breathe in the fresh air and exclaimed that the morning air was refreshing. At that moment, Jie and Shan ran over, hugged Jie Lingyage, and said joyfully, Lingyage, you were amazing. You don't know how happy I was when Jie Treng crawled like a dog. The little fox let out a sound, and Jie and Shan praised, oh, this little fox is so cute. She reached out to pet the fox, but it scratched her. Jie and Shan held her hand and said, this little creature is fierce. Jie Lingyage worriedly asked, are you okay, Shan? This is the little animal I just tamed, called Little Chit Chit. Jie and Shan waved it off happily. It's just a small scratch, no problem. By the way, my father asked me to tell you to come to the martial hall. Don't forget that from rank 3 onwards, you can choose a new martial art to learn. At the martial hall, Jie and Shan brought Jie Lingyage to her father and said, Father, I brought Lingyage. Jie Huangshu, the second son of the Jie family and Jie and Shan's father, looked up. Jie Lingyage greeted, second uncle. Jie Huangshu asked, you're here? Follow me inside. He led Jie Lingyage and Jie and Shan in and said, your performance in training was excellent. Why didn't you challenge the top-ranked Jie Tan? Jie Lingyage replied, Jie Tan is the son of the eldest uncle, 3 years older than me, and a martial artist at the 10th stage of body refining. I am not his match. Jie Huangshu said, the rule of the martial hall is that you can enter after reaching the 3rd stage of body refining. You haven't had your energy checked yet, let's go test it. He took Jie Lingyage to a stone monument and said, attack it with all your strength. Jie Lingyage did as told and punched the stone monument. The result astonished Jie Huangshu, 5th stage of body refining. Are you really only 13 years old? Jie Lingyage replied, I just broke through while in the mountains, second uncle. Can I go inside now? Jie Huangshu explained, the martial hall has 3 levels. The first level has basic martial arts without any grades. The second level has 9-grade martial arts. Only the family head and elders can enter the 3rd level. Jie Lingyage nodded, I understand. Then she stepped onto the 1st level. Jie Huangshu sighed, having a child like her is a blessing in misfortune for 3rd sister. It's just a pity about her injury. Meanwhile, Jie family's elder, upon hearing the report, was astonished. What? Lingyage broke through to the 5th stage of body refining? His subordinate confirmed, absolutely, second master checked it with energy. Jie family's elder closed his eyes in thought and then waved his hand, spread the word, move the people from the north wing to the east wing. Jie Huangshan gritted his teeth upon hearing this. At that moment, someone spoke, Father, if Jie Lingyage has reached the 5th stage, according to family rules, she should participate in some family matters since she just turned 13. This person was Jie Huangwan, the eldest son of the Jie family and father of Jie Tan. Jie family's elder nodded and stroked his beard, all right. Later, when she comes out of the martial hall, send someone to tell her. Jie Huangwan saluted, yes. Then Jie family's elder picked up a cup of tea and said, Huangwan, tell Huangwei that Lingyage should accompany us to the stone market tomorrow to get acquainted with the family business. Jie Lingyage had just entered the martial arts pavilion when Little Fox leaped off her shoulder, chattering excitedly, then climbed onto a bookshelf to search for books. Startled, Jie Lingyage asked, Little Chit Chit, what are you doing? Little Fox knocked a book off the shelf. Jieling Yage bent down to pick it up and read the title, Blooming Flower Shattering Jade Hand. Then, Jieling Yage went downstairs. Jie Huangshu, upon seeing her holding the book, said, The Blooming Flower Shattering Jade Hand, an 8th-tier martial art. Except for our ancestor, no one in the Jie family has mastered it in many years. Confidently, Jieling Yage replied, Then I will choose this one, second uncle. Jie Huangshu nodded and said, If you have made your choice, go register it. On the way back, Jieling Yage read the book and muttered, I didn't expect our ancestor to also understand spiritual power. She accidentally cut a tree trunk with a leaf. Seeing this, she was pleased, but when she heard a servant exclaim, Who cut down the master's favorite tree, she immediately stuck out her tongue and ran away. When she returned, she saw people packing up and asked Nanny Lu, what's happening? Nanny Lu called out, Young mistress, Jie Huangwan and Jie Huangwei are coming out of the courtyard. Jie Huangwan said, Third sister, father said that starting today, you should move to the bridge pavilion of the East Manor. There are a few people and agile servants there. Seeing Jieling Yage, he asked, Ling Yage, did you choose a basic martial art today? Jieling Yage proudly showed him, Uncle, I chose the Blooming Flower Shattering Jade Hand. Jie Huangwan laughed, Did you know that your mother chose the same book when she first entered the martial arts pavilion? Jieling Yage asked, Really, mother? Jie Huangwan continued, But after some time, she couldn't master it and switched to learning the Qingyun steps. Jieling Yage laughed upon hearing this. Jie Huangwei patted her head and said, Ling Yage, now you are also an elite disciple of the Jie family. According to family rules, boys must train in the mines at the age of 13, and girls must go to the stone workshop to learn business. Tomorrow, you will go to the stone workshop with your eldest cousin to learn. Jieling Yage nodded and replied, Yes. In the evening at the Hong Mong Heaven, Jieling Yage was practicing when Little Fox cheerfully climbed a tree. Worried, Jieling Yage asked, Why are you climbing so high? Come down. Little Fox reached for a fruit but slipped and fell. Jieling Yage rushed to catch it, and at the same time, a Singmu fruit fell on her head and then to the ground. Little Fox chirped excitedly. Jieling Yage picked up the fruit and asked, Why is this Singmu fruit so big? Little Fox took a bite. Jieling Yage affectionately patted its head and said, You little glutton, if it weren't for the abundant medicinal herbs in Hong Mong Heaven, I wouldn't be able to keep you. Then she thought, That's right, I can sell the Singmu fruit for money. At the pharmacy counter, the shopkeeper was inventorying goods when an assistant reported, Shopkeeper, there's no Singmu fruit this month. The shopkeeper was startled, What? Not even one? The Singmu fruit must be used within the first 3 days. Soaking it in medicinal wine gives the best results. At this moment, Jieling Yage, wearing a cloak, entered and called out, Shopkeeper. The shopkeeper, seeing her, asked enthusiastically, Miss, have you come to sell the gathering herb again? Jieling Yage placed the Singmu fruit on the table and said, No, I came to sell the Singmu fruit. The shopkeeper was surprised, Such good Singmu fruit, where did you get it? Jieling Yage replied, An old friend of mine uses special methods to get it from outside. He can supply about 25 kilograms daily. But the price? The shopkeeper immediately said, Price is negotiable. For this quality, even 5 times the usual price is acceptable. I'll buy 25 kilograms for 250 taels. Jieling Yage shook her head and said, No need. I'll sell it at the usual price, but I have one condition. You must help me find out where I can buy 5th-grade elixirs. The shopkeeper hesitated, then agreed, All right, I agree. But 5th-grade elixirs are very rare, give me a month. Once I have news, I'll inform you immediately. Jieling Yage bowed and said, Thank you, shopkeeper. The next day, while Jieling Yage was practicing, Nanny Lu called out, Young mistress, the eldest master is here. Jieling Yage replied, Coming. She opened the door to see Jie Shang, 16 years old, the eldest son of Jie Huangshu. She said, Eldest cousin, let's go. On the way, Jie Shang asked her, Ling Yage, do you know what the main business of our Jie family is? Jieling Yage replied, Mines and iron ore. I heard our ancestor founded this business after discovering a large mine. Jie Shang responded, Wrong. Ordinary iron ore couldn't sustain the entire Jie family. Jieling Yage, puzzled, bowed and said, Please enlighten me, eldest cousin. Jie Shang explained, Iron and black iron are different. For example, iron ore and black iron ore, their colors slightly differ but their prices vary greatly. Regular iron can be cut and refined by workers, but black iron requires martial artists of the 3rd level or higher to cut and those of the 5th level or higher to refine. Jie Shang led Jieling Yage to the stone workshop. The workers greeted him, Eldest master, eldest master. Jieshang said to Jieling Yage, I have some matters to attend to, including managing iron ore and black iron ore. Learn to differentiate them first. The processing workshop is ahead. Then, Jieshang left. Jieling Yage looked around the stone workshop, where workers were diligently forging and refining. She picked up an ore and felt it, then exclaimed, 5% purity, impressive. At that moment, a merchant arrived at the stone workshop's gate with a crate of black iron ore for sale. He introduced his goods to Jieshang. The purity and quality of this black iron ore are top-notch, not seen in 10 years. If I didn't need money urgently, I wouldn't sell to Jie family's stone workshop. Even the Song family contacted me, offering to buy. I have only 500 kilograms, and it can be yours for 20,000 taels of gold. Jieshang pondered briefly and agreed, we'll take the black iron ore, but the stone workshop can't pay 20,000 taels up front. How about a 5,000 tael deposit? The merchant immediately agreed, fine, fine. Jieshang continued, the remaining amount will be paid within 3 days. Noticing the merchant's sly smile, Jieling Yage interrupted, wait, eldest cousin, may I examine the ore? Pushing Jieshang aside, she ran to the goods. Jieshang scolded, Ling Yage, what are you doing? Ignoring him, Jieling Yage immobilized Jieshang with a pressure point technique. She picked up a piece of black iron ore, felt it, and thought, such sophisticated forgery. Then she crushed the stone and asked, is this really black iron ore? Why does it crumble like tofu? Seeing this, Jieshang angrily shouted, how dare you cheat us? Guards, arrest this swindler. The fraudulent merchant, realizing his scam was exposed, bit down on poison and died at the Jie family's main hall. Jie Lord, furious, threw a teacup at the kneeling Jieshang, who bowed deeply in apology. Jie Huangshang spoke up to defend, Father, we can't entirely blame Jieshang for this. I've seen those counterfeit black iron ore stones myself, they're indeed quite peculiar. Jie Huangwan also spoke, the logistics department has already cleaned up. Even the merchant who ate it was highly poisoned. It's hard to find the one who ordered this. Another elder of the Jie family added, fortunately, we have Ling Yage. Otherwise, the loss this time would have been substantial. Old Master Jie then asked Jieling Yage, Ling Yage, how did you discover that there was something wrong with those or stones? Jieling Yage scratched her head, feigning silliness, and replied, Patriarch, I prefer to err on the side of caution rather than miss anything. I'm not as skilled as elder cousin. I just felt that the look of that person was off, so I tried once. I didn't know it would hit the mark by chance. Old Master Jie thought to himself, could it be that this girl just got lucky? Then he smiled and said, no matter what, this time you've done a great service. What reward do you want? Jie Huangshang was angry upon hearing this and thought, this little girl cannot be kept around. Jieling Yage stepped forward, performed a ceremonial bow, and confidently asked, Patriarch, if possible, I would like to help classify the ores in the stone workshop in the future. Old Master Jie was taken aback but then said, of course, that's possible. Go to your eldest uncle and get a token. From now on, you can freely enter and exit the stone workshop. After resolving everything, Jieling Yage stepped outside and took a deep breath. Jieshang approached her and respectfully said, Ling Yage, thank you. Jieling Yage was startled and quickly waved her hand, saying, Elder cousin, there's no need to be so formal. We're family, there's no need to speak of gratitude. Jieshang told her, if you ever need anything in the future, just tell elder cousin. Jieling Yage happily replied, in that case, I will obediently comply. In Shufang town, at the Tong family residence, the head of the Tong family, upon hearing his subordinate's report, slammed the table and asked, what? The plan failed? What kind of work are you doing? Master Lin stepped forward to console him, Master Tong, there's no need to be angry. Master Tong said in a panic, Master Lin, I'm sorry to make you laugh. Master Lin raised his hand and replied, it's not a big deal. Since I took the money, I must do the job. If we agreed to help you eliminate the Jie family, if it doesn't work this time, there's always the next. Master Tong smiled obsequiously and said, of course, with you here, what is the Jie family? On Jiegu's 55th birthday, I will trouble you once again. With that, the two of them looked at each other and laughed. The next day, at the stone workshop, Jieling Yage checked the ore stones and felt that her peak essence was increasing day by day. A month later, when Jieling Yage went to the stone workshop, all the workers greeted her, Little Mistress, you've arrived. Good morning, Little Mistress. She waved back. Suddenly, a worker ran out from inside shouting, Run away! Run away! Little Mistress, don't go inside. There's a vicious dog in the stone workshop that bites anyone it sees. Stay away from it, don't let it bite you. A dog came out of the workshop with its mouth full of blood. The little fox immediately popped out from Jialing Yage's clothes. Jialing Yage hurriedly called, "Little Chit Chit." The little fox didn't listen and quickly ran to the dog, squeaking. The little fox howled at the dog, and the dog immediately lay down on the ground. The little fox then returned, bit Jialing Yage's skirt, and pulled her away. Jialing Yage asked, "Little fox, what are you doing?" The little fox continued to bite her skirt and pull her towards the dog, then squeaked again. Jialing Yage squatted down, stroked the little fox's head, and asked, "Are you saying it's sick? Let me take a look." The little fox bit Jialing Yage's finger and pulled it towards the dog. Jialing Yage placed her hand on the dog and asked, "Little fox, do you want me to treat it?" She extended her hand, felt something, and asked, "What is this?" Then she transferred her energy into the dog. After a while, she wiped her sweat and sighed, "Finally done." At this moment, the workers arrived with sticks and asked, "Where's the vicious dog?" Seeing Jialing Yage, they asked, "Little mistress, why are you here? And this vicious dog?" Jialing Yage stood up and waved her hand at the workers, saying, "Don't worry, this dog won't bite anyone anymore." The little fox happily agreed, squeaking twice. On the roof, a green-haired man in a mask observed the scene and remarked, "This little one is really interesting." Then, Jialing Yage looked at her hand and thought, "So the peak essence can also heal." She looked at the dog and thought, "If I can cure you, I can cure my mother too." So, Jialing Yage immediately ran back to her courtyard and called for her mother. When she entered, Nanny Lu greeted her, "Little mistress, you're back early today." Jialing Yage ran to Nanny Lu and said, "Mama, can you give me your hand for a moment?" Nanny Lu, puzzled, asked, "What does little mistress want to do?" but still extended her hand. Jialing Yage took Nanny Lu's hand and transferred her peak essence. After a while, she sighed and thought, "I need to keep trying." That night, in a small house in Hong Mong Heaven, Jialing Yage continued studying books. Early in the morning, she sat down to meditate, channeling her energy and spiritual power into the Hong En she wore around her neck. She immediately felt her power increase, reaching the 6th level. Excitedly, she stepped out of the wooden house and punched forward. Seeing the result, she joyfully said, "The 6-path thunder and ice fist is finally complete." She was so happy that her hands trembled, shouting, "I did it, I finally succeeded." Then, Nanny Lu called from behind, "Little mistress, breakfast is ready." Jialing Yage replied happily, "Okay, I'll bring it to mother." She ran off. Nanny Lu watched her go and sighed, "My little mistress is really adorable, such a good child." In the kitchen, Jialing Yage looked around and took out a medicine bottle, thinking, "A little each day won't be noticed. Even if my mother's body can't be completely healed, it will still help a bit." She opened the bottle, poured some into her mother's food, and thought, "Mother must get well soon." Outside the study, Jialing Yage brought the food over and happily said to Jia Huanghui, "Mother, it's time to eat." She set the food on the table and said, "Mother, eat first, then continue reading." Jia Huanghui put down her book and replied, "All right." Then she sighed. Jialing Yage worriedly asked, "Are you looking at the books? Is there a problem with the Zhao Su one?" Jia Huanghui replied, "In a few days, it's the 50th birthday of the patriarch. I'm thinking about what to prepare for the celebration." Jialing Yage hugged her and said, "Mother, don't worry, I'll prepare a grand gift for the patriarch." Jia Huanghui smiled, pinched her cheek, and said, "Little rascal, what good thing can you prepare?" Jialing Yage replied, "Mother, you'll see on the birthday." 5 days later, at the main gate of the Jia family, the servants welcomed the guests, "Please come in." The guests brought gifts, saying, "Congratulations to the Jia patriarch." Inside the house, Jialing Yage said to Jia Huanghui, "Mother, your outfit is too plain. Today is the patriarch's birthday, ordinary colors like this are not suitable." Jia Huanghui smiled and said, "Ling Yage, let's just leave it." Jialing Yage insisted, pushing her mother forward, "No, no. Mother, look and then decide." Jia Huanghui looked at herself in the mirror and was stunned. Jialing Yage asked, "Isn't the outfit I prepared for you beautiful?" Jia Huanghui replied, "Yes." In the Jia family courtyard, the guests were noisily congratulating, "Happy birthday to the Jia patriarch." Just then, a servant announced, "Third mistress of the Jia family has arrived." Jia Huanghui and Jialing Yage, dressed beautifully and carefully made up, appeared. Everyone exclaimed, "Since when did Shu Fang Town have such beautiful people? That's the third mistress of the Jia family and her daughter. I didn't expect them to attend today's birthday celebration. Could it be the famous virtuous guest of Shu Fang Town? And isn't that the great Xia Hong household next to her?" Jialing Yage glared at the gossipers, and they quickly hushed. Suddenly, Jia Huangshang appeared and said, "So it was third sister who came. No wonder the magpies were chirping non-stop this morning. Jieling Yage and Jie Treng exchanged hostile glares. Jie Huangwei ignored Jie Huangshang and turned away. Jie Huangsheng, angered, yelled, "What do you mean by oi?" Then the servant announced, "The guests are all here, the banquet begins." Inside, Jie Huangsheng's family all performed the ceremony and said, "Father, Huangshang has brought the whole family to wish you a happy birthday. Here is the birthday gift we present to you." When the old master Jie opened the gift, he was startled, 5 parts pure black iron. Everyone started talking. This piece of black iron must have taken Master Tithar from Mineral Mountain 3 days and 3 nights to refine. It's incredible to achieve such a high purity. The old master Jie happily said, "Good, good, I'm very pleased." Then, Jie Huangwei stepped forward and said, "Daughter Jie Huangwei wishes father a happy birthday." The old master Jie remembered when she was little and asked, "Father, is my new dress pretty?" The old master Jie replied, "Yes, quickly stand up." Jie Huangshang next to him asked, "Sister, for father's birthday, everyone brought gifts, why did you come empty-handed? Did you forget to prepare something?" Jie Huangwei angrily scolded, "Jie Huangsheng, you." Jieling Yage tugged at her mother's sleeve and said, "Mother, don't worry, he's about to eat his words." Jieling Yage brought a wine bottle and said, "How could we come empty-handed? This is a fine wine that mother specially prepared for grandfather." Jie Huangshang sneered, "A small bottle of wine like that, isn't it just something bought from the town?" Ignoring him, Jieling Yage cheerfully said to the old master Jie, "Ling Yage wishes grandfather a long life like the eastern sea and longevity like the southern mountains. Please open it and see." When the old master Jie opened the wine bottle, he was astonished. "This wine." Jieling Yage happily explained, "This is by Nianhou tree, mother went up the mountain for 3 months just to get this one bottle for your grand birthday." Everyone started talking. It said that by Nianhou tree can prolong life and increase inner strength. It's truly a rare treasure. Today, the old master is very fortunate to receive this wine. The old master Jie handed the wine bottle to a servant, laughed heartily, and said, "This gift is the best one I've received today. Huangwei, take Ling Yage to her seat." Jieling Yage smiled and replied, "As long as grandfather likes it," while Jie Huangwei nodded, "Yes." Jie Huangsheng, seeing this, angrily thought, "That mother and daughter?" After Ling Yage sat down, Jie Inshan waved and called her over, "Ling Yage, over here." Jieling Yage sat down next to Jie Inshan, who cheerfully said, "You two were amazing just now, did you see fourth uncle's face? It was hilarious." Ling Yage replied, "It's fine to be happy, but don't say it out loud." Jie Inshan whispered to her, "I wanted to tell you about the fake black iron or last time." Just then, a group of people entered and said, "How could you not inform me about old brother Jie's big birthday, so I came uninvited for a drink." It was Tonghua Shu, head of the Tong family. The old master Jie said, "Brother Tong is known to be very busy, it's just a small birthday party, how could I trouble you?" Jie Inshan continued, "I wanted to tell you, it was him. The fake black iron or last time caused brother Jie Shang to be punished because of him." Jieling Yage asked, "Does he have a grudge against our family?" Jie Inshan replied, "Our Jie family and the Tong family have been mortal enemies over the 7-star mountain iron mine for years. If not for the town chief, we would have fought long ago." Jieling Yage looked at the person and thought, "This person." Then she tugged her mother's sleeve and asked, "Mother, who is that? Why does he keep looking at us?" Her mother blocked her view and said, "Just a random person, Ling Yage, don't pay attention." Tonghua Shu stepped forward and said, "Brother Jie, I came in a hurry and didn't prepare a good gift. Here is a small token, please don't laugh at it." He handed over a box. The old master Jie took the box, and Tonghua Shu smiled. Jieling Yage thought, his expression is suspicious, there's a trap in that gift box. She waved her hand to dismiss it. Just as the old master Jie opened the box, a sword flew out, but it was blocked by Jieling Yage's strike, sending the sword flying into a pillar, making everyone scream. Tonghua Shu thought, failed. The old master Jie threw the box down and angrily shouted, "Tonghua Shu, what is the meaning of this, daring to use a dagger to assassinate me at this banquet?" Tonghua Shu quickly waved his hand and said, "Brother Jie, calm down, it was just a small joke. With your skills, how could a dagger harm you?" The old master Jie angrily shouted, "Get out, the Jie family does not welcome you." Tonghua Shu clicked his tongue and said, "Then I won't disturb you anymore, farewell." Jie Huangshang asked the old master Jie, "Father, are we just going to let this go?" The old master Jie replied, "In a few days, it's the hunting day. We'll settle the score with that kid then." Jie Huangwei, noticing her daughter's expression, asked, "Ling Yage, are you unwell?" Jieling Yage wiped her sweat and said, "It's nothing, just a bit hot with so many people around." She thought, "I nearly exhausted my energy blocking that dagger. But it's good that grandfather is safe." After the banquet, the servants of the Jie family were cleaning up. Jieling Yage, dressed in black, hid behind a pillar, looked around, and quickly ran to the dagger stuck in the pillar, prying it out. She picked it up and said, "A dagger made of black iron, Tonghua Shu really has good craftsmanship." She placed her hand on the dagger, felt it, and said, "Indeed, it's mental energy. The Tong family is truly vicious, daring to harm the Jie family. Just wait and see, they will pay the price." She put the dagger into her space and then went to visit little Chit-Chit in her space. At that moment, Xiao Ho Li was sleeping soundly on a branch. A dagger flew towards it, causing it to yelp and slip off the branch. Jieling Yage picked it up and laughed, "Little Chit-Chit is so silly." Unexpectedly, Xiao Ho Li, angry, jumped out of her arms and began digging the ground. Jieling Yage sat down and patted its head, saying, "Don't be angry. I want to show you something fun." She used her mental energy to make the dagger float. Xiao Ho Li, seeing this, jumped up joyfully. Jieling Yage threw the dagger with her mental energy, and Xiao Ho Li immediately chased after it. Seeing this, she laughed, "Little Chit-Chit is so foolish." Xiao Ho Li barked a few times in protest. At the Tong residence, Tonghua Shu sighed, while Lin Teacher, sitting leisurely and drinking tea, said, "What's there to worry about? It's just a single failure." Tonghua Shu responded, "I'm not concerned about this matter. Lin Teacher, is it true that you failed this time, or did you receive some benefit from the Jie family and collude to stab me in the back?" Lin Teacher, hearing this, angrily slammed the table. "Tonghua Shu, are you questioning my abilities or doubting the integrity of the Practitioners' Alliance?" He threw a token onto the table. Tonghua Shu, seeing this, quickly apologized. "Lin Teacher, Tong Mo was just momentarily agitated. Please forgive me." Lin Teacher put away the token and said, "The Practitioners' Alliance of Daiha will never engage in such dirty deeds. If we have accepted payment, we will definitely help you eliminate the Jie family. However, the previous failure might have occurred because the Jie family also has high-level experts assisting them." Tonghua Shu then asked, "Has Lin Teacher suspected anyone?" Lin Teacher sipped his tea and said, "I'm not sure. After all, such a small place cannot possibly have such a figure." Tonghua Shu breathed a sigh of relief. It might indeed be just an oversight. Lin Teacher then said, "Consider this a defeat on my part, but rest assured. As the saying goes, after 3 failures, success will come. Next time, I will definitely take the life of that old man." The next day, while Jieling Yage was walking with little Chit-Chit in her arms, she saw Jie Shang appear. She hurried over and asked, "Big brother, why are you here?" Jie Shang turned around and said, "Ling Yage, you came at just the right time. I have something to tell you. In 5 days, the 3-yearly hunt of Shu Fang Town will take place. This time, I will lead the Jie family's disciples to participate. Ling Yage, you should prepare to go as well. I plan to nominate you to join us." Jieling Yage, hearing this, said, "But I heard that the quota for participants is already full." Jie Shang replied, "Don't worry, I still have 1 nomination left, reserved for you." Jieling Yage joyfully asked, "Really? That's great. Thank you, big brother. You are so kind. I can finally go hunting." Saying this, she happily ran off. In the study, Jie Huanghui was writing when Jieling Yage rushed in, exclaiming, "Mother, mother, I have good news." She ran to hug her mother's waist. "Big brother reserved a spot for me in the hunt. Mother, I can go hunting now." Jie Huanghui, hearing this, asked, "This is good news, but there are only 3 days left until the hunt starts. Have you made preparations?" Jieling Yage replied, "Of course, I'm always ready. Don't worry, mother. I will make sure the Jie family wins first place, making everyone look at us with new eyes." 3 days later, at the foot of Loveless Mountain, a group of horses passed by. Jieling Yage, while walking, was enveloped in smoke and muttered, "What kind of people are these?" At the foot of the mountain, Jie Treng and Jianing were standing there. Tong Han, the son of Tonghua Shu, rode up and said, "Oh, I thought it was someone important, but it's just the useless Jie Treng. I heard you lost to an idiot in the clan trials. Do you still have the face to join the hunt?" Jie Treng, angry, cursed, "Tong Han, who are you calling useless?" Tong Han dismounted his horse and said, "Oh, still not happy? Jie Treng, if it weren't for your sister protecting you, would you be in the position you are now?" He snapped his fan shut, bent down, and lifted Jianing's chin, saying, "Jianing, you should come with my team. Going with a useless person who can't even defeat an idiot will only hold you back." Jianing pushed him away and asked, "Tong Han, what do you want?" Jie Treng, with a clenched fist, rushed forward, saying, "Get your filthy hands off." Jie Lingyage arrived just in time to see Tong Han block a blow from Jie Treng and mock, "A useless person is indeed useless." With that, he mounted his horse and asked Jie Ning, "Do you really want to go with this useless person?" Seeing this, Jie Lingyage threw a stone at Tong Han's horse's legs, causing him to fall off. He cursed, "Who is plotting against me?" Jie Lingyage stepped in front of him and said, "Oh, second young master Tong, earlier you called someone who couldn't even defeat an idiot useless. So what are you called now?" Tong Han immediately got up and shouted, "Jie Lingyage, do you want to die?" With that, he and his subordinates charged. Jie Lingyage quickly stepped back, grabbed the collar of one of the nearby guards, and threw him towards Tong Han. She exhaled and said, "Second young master Tong, you are inferior to others, and now you even use your guards as shields." Two other guards rushed in, but Jie Lingyage swiftly avoided them, causing them to collide. Tong Han, coming from behind, shouted, "Want to die?" Jie Lingyage raised her fists and said, "Let's see who really wants to die." The two fought, and Tong Han was knocked down by Jie Lingyage, his face hitting the ground. Jie Lingyage stepped on his back, and he cried out, "It hurts so much, let me go." Jie Lingyage arrogantly replied, "Beg me to let you go." Tong Han hurriedly pleaded, "Please, let me go." Jie Ning and Jie Treng were astonished. Just then, a person on horseback rode up and said, "Stop." Jie Lingyage thought, "Great, reinforcements are here." The person asked, "Are you the daughter of Jie Huanghui?" Jie Lingyage replied, "Yes." "Who are you?" The person was Tong Guangqi, the eldest son of Tong Hua Shu. He said, "You have quite a nerve, daring to insult the people of the Tong family like this." Jie Lingyage retorted, "If you have such small courage, why bother participating in the hunt? You might as well go home with your mother." Tong Guangqi responded, "Who are you to speak to the people of the Tong family like that? Jie Lu One wouldn't dare speak like that to me." Just then, Jie Shang arrived and said, "Tong Guangqi, and what are you to speak like that to my Jie family?" Jie Lingyage, seeing her brother, joyfully exclaimed, "Big brother." Tong Guangqi, furious, said, "This matter cannot be simply overlooked." Just then, the chief magistrate of Shu Fang, Tran Lu, arrived and said, "Friends, out of respect for me, let's put this matter aside. The hunt is about to begin. Everyone, take your positions. I am eager to see who will achieve first place in this hunt." Upon hearing this, Tong Guangqi snorted and left with his men on horseback. Jie Shang approached Jie Lingyage and cautioned, "The Tong family's men are notorious. Be careful during the hunt." Jie Lingyage replied confidently, "Rest assured, I will protect myself." Soon after, the drum sounded, signaling the start of the hunt. Tran Lu announced, "The hunting period is 3 days and nights. The one who hunts the most will be declared the winner. You are all skilled members of great clans, and I wish you success." Everyone shouted in unison, "We will not disappoint." At the Jie residence, Jie Shang rallied everyone, saying, "Since the last time, Tong Quang Nia has seized the first place opportunity from us. Regardless, we must reclaim our territory." The crowd responded enthusiastically, "The Jie family will surely triumph." Just then, a roar echoed through the air. Jie Shang looked over and exclaimed, "Tong Quang Nia dares to bring Tuet and Gao for the hunt. We can't stay here any longer. Let's head into the mountains." The members of the Jie family followed suit. Jianing thanked Jie Lingyage, "Lingyage, thank you for earlier." Lingyage modestly replied, "It was my duty to assist the Jie family." Moments later, a black panther leapt forward. Jie Shang swiftly subdued it and informed the group, "The tongue lamb black panther has incredible strength and speed. When facing it, we must strike decisively and maintain composure." Soon, a pack of panthers emerged. Jie Shang cautioned everyone, "Lingyage, stay behind me." However, Lingyage promptly attacked, bringing down the panther. Jie Shang sighed in relief, thinking, "She's more capable than I thought." He remarked, "Capturing 5 mid-level wild beasts is a good start for us. Let's keep up the effort." As Jie Lingyage and Jie Ning were lifting a panther, a volley of arrows flew in, followed by the howl of a wolf. Tong Han appeared with a bow. Jie Shang, angered, demanded, "Tong Han, what do you mean by this?" Tong Han chuckled, "Meaning? You're taking my prey and now questioning me? Look at that black panther, pierced by arrows, isn't it?" When Jie Lingyage confirmed the panther had indeed been shot, she tossed it towards Tong Han, saying, "If that's the case, this black panther belongs to you, take it." He smirked, "At least you understand." Jie Lingyage then sat down in front of the panther, using her energy. Jie Ning, infuriated, asked, "Lingyage, letting him off so easily?" She replied calmly, "Words have yet to be exchanged. Brother, retrieve your arrow." Jie Shang retrieved the arrow and was astonished. A celestial silver arrow? The Tong family possesses this? Leng Yage confirmed, we'll keep the arrow. After all, it's an exchange for the Black Panther. That foolish Tong Han likely knows nothing about it. Tong Han was now catching his breath. Tong Guangqi scolded him, are you a fool? Using 3 celestial arrows to exchange for a Black Panther? Master Lu then interjected, young Tong, there's no need to be angry. It's just a petty squabble among the Jie family. Tong Guangqi retorted, Master Lu, the Jie family has a formidable woman. She's not to be underestimated. Even your arrows might not catch her. Master Lu chuckled, oh, my arrows can't catch her? Seems like she's quite skilled. Tong Guangqi proposed, if the Jie family wants to ascend the mountain, I would like Master Lu's help. Let's set a few beasts on the mountain to attack them. Master Lu agreed, that's not difficult. Tong Guangqi then added, consider it a favor to you, Master Lu. If the Tong family wins this battle, you will receive 3 shares of the mining income. On the mountain peak, the mysterious figure with green hair and a mask appeared again, observing, the 7-spirit mountain, with someone from the Union of Knights sneaking in. How interesting. At the 7-spirit mountain peak, Jie Shang instructed, everyone, rest. I'll keep watch. Subsequently, everyone entered the tent. Jie Shang stood guard outside. Leng Yage lay down on a mat, saying, I'm so tired. She cuddled the little fox and urged, little one, sleep now. 3 hours later, as Leng Yage dozed off, she heard a commotion. She woke up to see Jie Treng shouting, he's running towards the cliff. Quickly, chase after him. Leng Yage stopped Jie Treng, saying, don't. The cliff is treacherous, and there are many fierce beasts. It's very dangerous. Jie Tin ran ahead, saying, if you're afraid of dying, don't come here. Leng Yage had no choice but to follow hurriedly, scolding, you fools, it's clearly a trap. As they reached the cliff, a hawk flew in and attacked Jie Tin. Leng Yage shouted from behind, it's a trap, everyone scatter. Leng Yage whistled, and the little dog aggressively chased away all the eagles. Among them, an arrow shot down one of the eagles. The chit-chit sound kept coming from Leng Yage's shoulder, and she became alert. At that moment, Tong Han was driven to this side by the little dog. Leng Yage picked up a piece of paper with some powder on it, examined it for a while, and concluded, this is a powder used to attract wild beasts. Tong Han, do you want to lure us up the cliff? Tong Han, who was now cornered by the little dog at the edge of the cliff, did not forget to retort, Leng Yage, don't spit venom. Jie Treng, supporting her injured shoulder, angrily shouted, Tong Han, how could you use such a cruel scheme? Tong Han arrogantly admitted with a cheerful smile, it's just a bunch of useless fools. Before he could finish speaking, a golden claw eagle king flew from behind him and grabbed his coat, dragging him away. Tong Han screamed, help, to the remaining people, who quickly formed a defensive formation. Leng Yage calmly commanded, Jianing, immediately send a distress signal. Everyone be aware of your surroundings, and break through the encirclement. Tong Han's screams continued to echo. Leng Yage, seeing no other option, said, Tong Han, you brought this upon yourself. If you die, it's deserved. Suddenly, an eagle screeched loudly, and a chilling gust of wind followed. Leng Yage was also grabbed by an eagle. Jianing screamed in horror, Leng Yage. In midair, Leng Yage calmly used her skill Fai Tui, causing a knife to appear and stab the eagle's heart. Blood gushed out along with its agonized cries. The eagle veered off course and fell into the abyss with Leng Yage. Jianing rushed to catch her but was quickly pulled back by Jie Treng, who said, this is a cliff, do you want to die? Below, Leng Yage fortunately managed to grab a sturdy vine. She thought, this is really dangerous. Luckily, I managed to hold on to the vine. I wonder where that eagle king fell to. Leng Yage said, little one, help me a bit. The chit-chit sound continued, and Leng Yage struggled in midair, trying to gain momentum to grab another vine, but things didn't go smoothly. She missed the vine and fell. A deep sound echoed as she and the object landed successfully in a cave. Leng Yage painfully clutched her head, saying, it hurts so much. Suddenly, she noticed the hawk from earlier was also there. It had fallen into the cave as well. She took out her knife and grinned wickedly, you're mine. Suddenly, Chit-Chit rubbed against Leng Yage's leg. Confused, she asked, what's wrong? It quickly ran into a small nearby cave. Leng Yage chased after it, saying, little one, don't run around. Leng Yage caught up and held Chit-Chit in her arms. At this moment, a giant green snake appeared. Leng Yage calmly closed her eyes and said, Hong Mong heaven. But instead of falling into a dreamland, she fell into the warm embrace of a man. He swiftly severed the snake's head with a single strike. Jialing Yage paid no attention to the situation before her and stared intently at the masked man, her face turning red. Devil. Truly a devilish charm, she thought to herself. The man looked down at the person in his arms and smiled slightly. You're too weak. Feeling struck at her weakness, Jialing Yage puffed her cheeks and said, don't laugh. Suddenly, the man turned around, grabbed her hand, and leaned his face close, saying, saving your life isn't repaid like this. Jialing Yage pushed him away, her face flushed with anger. Shameless. The sound of chit-chit rang out, and the man reached for chit-chit's tail, intending to take it away. Jialing Yage felt a bit embarrassed, thinking, so he just wanted to catch the little fox. I thought he wanted something else. The masked man looked at Chit-Chit with interest, saying, the ancient beast clan has fallen to the point of needing to sign a pact with humans. Chit-Chit protested with a cry, and the masked man glared at it, causing it to cry. Jialing Yage, seeing its pleading gaze, quickly pulled it back, saying softly, give it back to me. She comforted it in her arms, saying, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. The masked man reminded her, it's a male. Don't hug it in the future. Jialing Yage stuck out her tongue, what does that have to do with you? Suddenly, he turned and walked inside, saying, if you want to live, follow me. Jialing Yage had no choice but to follow, saying, where are we going? It's so hot. He suddenly stopped and said, we're here. Jialing Yage, drenched in sweat, looked down at the flames below. In the middle of the lava pile was a rock. On it grew a plant. Jialing Yage couldn't help but exclaim, I can't believe it's the 5th grade wild Lingqiao Zichdung Sam. It seems the monster is protecting this. Seeing that there were 2 fruits on the plant, she thought, they're about to ripen. Then, she watched in shock as the masked man decisively pulled out the plant. As soon as the plant was uprooted, the 2 fruits suddenly exploded. The masked man was taken aback, this is bad, it's highly toxic. He fell down without any strength. Jialing Yage quickly used her skill Manhua Recap Thursday to pull him back. He used magic to push off the air, flying back and landing on the ground. He staggered, unsteady. Immediately, Jialing Yage seized the opportunity to take the Zichdung Sam for herself. The masked man fell and landed on top of the young woman. Jialing Yage's face turned red. The masked man said imperiously, how dare you steal from me, woman? Jialing Yage replied with a forced smile, what stealing? Zichdung Sam is a no-owner item, and anyone who finds it has a right to it. She thought to herself that the Zichdung Sam had just released red toxic smoke, so this person wouldn't last long. Contrary to her expectations, he ruthlessly grabbed her by the neck. I will make you die. Jialing Yage struggled, biting his hand at the opportune moment. The masked man remained calm and coldly said, let go, woman. Don't force me to act. Jialing Yage stubbornly bit harder, causing fresh blood to flow. She growled, don't even think about it. He gently withdrew his hand, leaned in close, and without hesitation kissed her lips. Jialing Yage felt a bit dazed. As he moved his tongue, she realized his hand was feeling around for her Zichdung Sam. She frowned and then closed her eyes, enjoying the imprint on her hand and extracting some of the Zichdung Sam. Chit-Chit rushed in, and taking advantage of his momentary distraction, she quickly pushed him away. The masked man stared at her. Jialing Yage wiped her lips, panting, and thought, he took so much advantage, and I managed to extract some of the Zichdung Sam, so we're even. The masked man confirmed, did you save me? Jialing Yage responded, one favor deserves another, we are even. Chit-Chit interposed between them, making a fuss. The masked man smiled, I am Vutrong Jialing Yage, remember my name. Black smoke appeared around him and then vanished. Jialing Yage stomped her feet in frustration, you villain, who cares about remembering your name? Then she contentedly thought, Zichdung Sam has no medicinal properties, let's see how you use it. Suddenly, the imprint on her hand turned bright red, not good, the original power is fully gathered. She quickly sat down to practice her cultivation. Elsewhere, Tong Guangqi repeatedly shouted, just an idiot, a despicable creature. So what if he died? My younger brother is the young master of the Tong family, and he's dead too. What abilities does she have to compare with my brother? Jietan, holding his injured shoulder, calmly replied, the Tong family's reputation is indeed great. But does that mean the Jie family is not considered at all? The Jie family will not let this go. Elder Lu stood in the middle, constantly mediating, please stop arguing. The deaths of Miss Jie and the young master were accidents. We have sent people to search, arguing like this won't help. Tong Guangqi continued to shout, arguing now won't change anything. Elder Lu, let's tally the hunting results. Once we get the top position, I'll show the Jie family. Jietan looked at everyone calmly. Elder Lu turned to assign tasks to his subordinates. Alright, let's quickly tally the results. In the cave, Jieling Yage was still cultivating. Suddenly, there was a loud boom, and Jieling Yage excitedly hugged Chit-Chit. Little one, I've reached the 8th level of body cultivation. Chit-Chit cried out in joy. She happily placed it on her shoulder. Let's head back quickly. We should make it in time for the results. Meanwhile, Elder Lu stood on the stage and announced the results clearly. The Tong family hunted 5 high-grade beasts, 20 medium-grade beasts, and 50 low-grade beasts. Tong Guangqi sneered, the Jie family will never catch up with the Tong family. Elder Lu continued, the Jie family hunted 3 high-grade beasts, 2 medium-grade beasts, and 2 low-grade beasts. Jianing anxiously asked, cousin, what should we do? Jie Tan bit his lip, saying nothing. Elder Lu continued, Vo Chuan Truong Fong hunted. Jieling Yage raced through the forest, catching a glimpse of the results. In the once every 3 years hunt, the winner this year is. Jieling Yage shouted while running, wait, the final results are still being counted. Jianing cheerfully called out, Ling Yage. Everyone quickly ran to her. Jianing excitedly grabbed both her hands, Ling Yage, you're all right. Jie Tan beside her sighed with relief, it's good that you're fine. Jieling Yage smiled and assured, don't worry, cousin. We've definitely won. Tong Guangqi gritted his teeth when he saw her. Jieling Yage, as usual, ignored him. She took out something from her robe and held it up, declaring, this is the silver claw of the Eagle King, and there's also an unnamed monster. I hope the town leader will examine it. Elder Lu was astonished, this is a G-grade spirit beast, the 4th grade phoenix snake. Miss Jie, tell me where you found this spirit beast? Tong Guangqi below angrily said, is the town leader mistaken? The 7-star mountain has never had spirit beasts before. Elder Lu growled, are you saying I misjudged? I declare that the first place in the once every 3 years hunt belongs to the Jie family. Jianing and Jieling Yage excitedly hugged each other, we won, we really won. Jie Tan smiled wryly but firmly nodded, yes. Suddenly, Jieling Yage lost her balance. The man cheerfully helped her onto his shoulders, let's take our little hero back to the Jie family. Jianing happily said, let's go home. Jie Trang couldn't help but speak up, Jieling Yage is very impressive. Jieling Yage smiled, thank you. Outside a carriage, Elder Lu lowered his head to report to the person inside, that serpent embroidery sunbird has been recorded under the Jie family as per your instructions. Vu Trong looked at the item in his hand and ordered, investigate all information about the Jie family, and look into Jieling Yage from childhood to the present. Elder Lu quickly left, and Vu Trong thought to himself, with a special constitution from the ancient spirit beast, able to come into contact with poisons. Jieling Yage, what is your true background? While Jieling Yage was happily celebrating, she suddenly froze. Why does it suddenly feel so cold? In front of the Jie family residence, many people were waiting. A happy servant ran in to report to the head of the family, the young master and young miss have returned. Soon after, Jie Shang and his siblings arrived. Jianing and Jieling Yage waved happily, we're back. The family head, Jie Gu, smiled kindly, good, good. This time you have made a great contribution. Jie Shang performed a bow, we have not let down the head of the family's expectations. Jie Gu smiled, this time, those who participated in the hunt will receive double the monthly allowance. Additionally, you may choose a weapon from the Jie family's treasure pavilion. They quickly expressed their thanks, thank you, grandfather. Thank you, grandfather. At this moment, Jie Shang proudly pulled Jieling Yage forward, grandfather, this time we owe it to Ling Yage. Jie Gu happily patted her head, you are very much like your mother, Ling Yage. Jieling Yage smiled happily. She joyfully ran to her mother. Jie Huangwei turned to receive her excited hug. Jieling Yage happily said, mother, we won first place in the hunt. Jie Huangwei lovingly looked at her, I've heard about it. Ling Yage, winning the hunt this time is due to luck rather than strength. Starting tomorrow, your training tasks must be doubled. Except for Shi District, you are not allowed to wander around. Jieling Yage asked in confusion, mother, is something wrong? Jie Huangwei replied, the Tong family are all fierce people. The death of Tong Han and the loss of iron ore, these will be blamed on our Jie family. Especially you, Ling Yage. Tong Han fell off the cliff with you, and you emerged unharmed. The Tong family will vent all their anger on you. Jieling Yage smiled and remained unfazed. She continued to be as affectionate as usual, mother, don't worry so much. I will definitely take good care of myself. Her mother frowned, you will grow old very quickly if you keep this up. In the room, Jieling Yage had her mother sit on the bed, while she began to warm up her hands. Mother, I recently learned a technique to clear the meridians. Let me try it on you. Jie Huangwei lovingly stroked her child's nose. Where did you learn all these tricks? Of course, she didn't believe that her daughter could cure her difficult illness, but she went along to make her happy. After a while, Jieling Yage began meticulously using her abilities through her mother's clothes. She saw strange black spots on her mother's back. She was somewhat incredulous. These were the things that had caused her mother to suffer from illness and pain for many years. Jieling Yage tried to erase some of the black spots. After a while, she was sweating profusely and gasping, so tiring. Just a little while and it has already consumed so much of my energy. Jie Huangwei saw this and was worried. You must be very tired from the hunt, why are you massaging me? She anxiously sat up and used her sleeve to wipe the sweat from her daughter. Suddenly, Jieling Yage pulled on Jie Huangwei's sleeve, with eyes full of pleading. Mother, can I sleep with you? Jie Huangwei agreed without much thought. Lie down and rest well. Mother will lie with you. Jieling Yage lay down, silently determined. Mother, I will definitely cure you. On the other side, Jie Huangwan performed a bow to report to the family head of Jie family. Father, the amount of mysterious iron brought back by Tan is definitely intentional. The Tong family's blacksmithing skills have always been inferior to ours. How did they manage to forge arrows with 5 parts of mysterious iron? Jie Huangshang calmly concluded, Elder brother, there is no need to overthink it. These arrows cannot be forged by the Tong family themselves. They must have relied on the high-quality iron ore from the northern 7 ridges and paid a high price to invite a large trading guild for forging. However, in this hunt, our Jie family won. The Tong family's good days are coming to an end. The family head was more cautious and issued an alert. The situation is unpredictable. In the coming days, we must closely monitor the Tong family. We must make them quickly hand over the northern 7 ridges ore. They quickly responded in unison, yes. The family head continued, no matter what, this time we are lucky to have Leng Yage. Otherwise, we would not have been able to recover the northern 7 ridges. In the future, you must make sure the children interact more with her and avoid the mistakes of the past. Jie Huangwan agreed without much thought. Jie Huangsheng, on the other hand, remained silent. On their way back, Jie Huangshang saw his son standing there, looking dejected and calling out to him. He shouted angrily, useless. What are you still standing here for? He continued to scold as he walked ahead, you can't even beat a fool. If your sister were here, how could a useless person like you show off and be so arrogant? After a moment, Jie Huangshang looked up at the sky with a sigh of relief and said, fortunately, Liu Van will return in less than half a year to finish her training. By then, I want to see how Jieling Yage will continue to be so boastful. These words directly struck at Jie Treng's pride. The young boy bit his lip and clenched his fists, thinking, in my father's eyes, only my sister matters. What am I considered? As the twilight descended, Jieling Yage went to the apothecary as usual. The shopkeeper welcomed her warmly. Are you here to deliver the Lingji mushrooms today? Please come in, please come in. Jieling Yage, holding the lantern tightly, asked, Shopkeeper, have you heard any news about 5th grade elixirs? The shopkeeper, looking flustered, replied, not yet. Please have a seat. At that moment, a voice interjected, Shopkeeper, where is the frostroot herb I needed? The shopkeeper quickly responded, I'm sorry, I have some urgent matters to attend to. He hurried to the door to greet, young Master Tong, Master Lin, the frostroot herb is ready. Would you like to take it yourself, or should I deliver it to the Tong residence? Seeing this, Jieling Yage was puzzled, frostroot herb? Why would the Tong family personally come to buy a first-grade calming herb used by wealthy families? It's quite strange. Tong Guangqi addressed the shopkeeper, 1,000 frostroot herbs, deliver them all to the Tong residence. Remember, do not disclose this to anyone. The shopkeeper accepted the money, nodding vigorously, yes, yes. Master Lin then spoke with a stern tone, wait a moment. Jieling Yage noticed his deep gaze and was startled, pulling her hat lower, oh no, is my identity about to be revealed? The mark on her hand suddenly glowed red. Contrary to Jieling Yage's fear, Master Lin directly passed by her, his attention focused on the Lingji mushrooms on the table with interest. These Lingji mushrooms are not bad. I want to buy them all. Make sure to send them along with the frostroot herbs to the Tong residence. Jieling Yage breathed a sigh of relief, finally, they're leaving. The shopkeeper lamented, it's so hard to get these Lingji mushrooms, and now I've run out of stock again. Jieling Yage comforted the shopkeeper, don't worry about the Lingji mushrooms. I'll bring more in a couple of days. She then voiced her curiosity, but who is the person next to young Master Tong? Why are you and young Master Tong so respectful towards him? The shopkeeper explained, you might not know, but Master Lin is from the Alchemist Guild in the county. Small sects like ours naturally cannot afford to offend them. He added, the Alchemist Guild is the only force in Daiha that can rival the Daiha military. Their status is equivalent to the high officials of Daiha. However, selecting alchemists is very strict. If you don't have the capability, you can't even step through the door. Our branch hasn't had a single alchemist for years. Jieling Yage thought to herself, it seems the Tong family is connected to the Alchemist Guild. No wonder they can produce 5th grade Shen iron. I wonder what they need all that frostroot herb for. The shopkeeper cheerfully added, if you're interested, you could visit the county seat next time. There are branches of the Alchemist Guild there, with many more herbs, elixirs, and weapons than our small shop here. Jieling Yage smiled, thank you for the information, shopkeeper. On her way home, Jieling Yage was deep in thought. Staring at her money pouch, she suddenly heard a voice from behind, Ling Yage, you've just been hunting. Why don't you take a break and rest? Jieling Yage quickly turned around and replied, Uncle, I'm fine. Where are you all hurrying off to? Jie Huangshang answered arrogantly, just a junior. Since when did elders need to answer to you? Jie Huangwan interjected, Huang Sheng, this is Jie Huangwan. He then smiled at Jieling Yage and said, don't mind him. Your fourth uncle and I are going to find Master Lu Chan to see if we can quickly complete the task of the Mineral Mountain. Jieling Yage innocently mentioned the Tong family. Uncle, earlier on the road, I think I saw Tong Quang-chi and a young man entering an apothecary to buy a cartload of herbs. Could it be related to the Mineral Mountain? Jie Huangshang frowned, elder brother, the apothecary and the Mineral Mountain have nothing to do with each other. It's getting late, we should hurry and find the town head to resolve this Mineral Mountain issue. Jie Huangwan said, Ling Yage, go home and rest. Jieling Yage smiled and waved, Uncle, take care. As they walked away, she excitedly kissed her money pouch, I'm one step closer to 5th grade elixirs. Keep going. 3 days later, at the treasure pavilion, Jie Shang led the introduction, Ling Yage, see if you need anything and choose it. You are the first to select. Jieling Yage pondered, I need everything, but with so many options, which one to choose? She spoke, Big brother, why don't you all choose first? I'll take a look more. Jie Shang replied, all right. Everyone choose for yourselves. They quickly explored the room. At this moment, Jieling Yage was trying to reach for a purple stone high up. As soon as she touched it, a stream of light immediately surrounded her hand. Jieling Yage was astonished, what is this? The stone in her hand began to shine brighter and brighter. Jie Shang walked over to explain, Ling Yage, this mineral is an ancient mineral discovered by the ancestors of the Jie family in the 7 Stars Mountain when they were young. No one knows what kind of mineral it is, so it has been placed in this treasure pavilion. Jieling Yage smiled and said, Big brother, then I'll take this mineral. On the way back, a servant rushed up, young master. He whispered something to Jie Shang. Shortly after, Jie Shang angrily said, this is outrageous. The Tong family is truly going too far. Jieling Yage approached and asked, Big brother, what happened? Jie Shang's face was serious as he replied, the mining site in the North 7 has been destroyed. This news shocked everyone. Jie Shang turned around, I'll go check the mining site in the North 7. Everyone, go home. Jieling Yage rushed over, Big brother, I want to go too. The group of Jie Shang hurried off. In the cave, Jie Gu, the head of the family, angrily scolded, damn it. How did you manage to keep watch? The minerals were fine one night and now they are like this. Jie Huangshang firmly wanted to prove his innocence. Father, I swear that when Dai Xie and I took over the minerals in the cave, everything was still fine. At this moment, Jieling Yage rushed over and asked urgently, Grandfather, what's happened to these minerals? Jie Huangshang rejected her inquiry, go away. What are these children doing in the cave? Jieling Yage directly sat down to investigate. She picked up a handful of moss. Why is there so much moss? In the distance, there were also frostgrass plants. She approached, picked a branch, and asked, Brother Dai Q, why is there frostgrass everywhere in the cave? Jie Huangwan replied indifferently, what is frostgrass? It's just weeds, no need to pay attention. Jieling Yage anxiously said, this is not just weeds. Frostgrass is a type of plant that condenses moisture. Planting it in the cave overnight can cause the cave to grow moss and a large amount of moss spots. Jie Gu was astonished, Ling Yage, is that true? Jieling Yage coldly continued, yesterday I saw Tong Quang-chi buy a lot of frostgrass. Jie Gu was completely furious, punching the stone wall beside him, damn Tong family. I will never forgive them. Jieling Yage suggested, Grandfather, now is not the time to seek revenge on the Tong family. The urgent task is to find a way to remove the moss and start reprocessing these minerals from scratch. Jie Huangshang snorted disdainfully. It's easy to say, but now we need high-grade fire to remove it. Only some large merchant guilds and royal alchemy houses in Daiha have this kind of fire. Even if the Jie family went bankrupt, we couldn't afford the cost. Jie Lingyage offered an idea. Grandfather, I once read in ancient texts that it's not only high-grade fire that can remove moss, lava fire can also do the trick. Jie Gu replied, the temperature of lava fire is similar to high-grade fire. But where can we find lava fire now? Jie Lingyage smiled. As long as we can confirm that lava fire can remove the moss, then there's a way. Grandfather, do you believe me? Jie Gu ordered. First, remove all the frost grass. Then he asked Lingyage, do you know where to find lava fire? Jie Lingyage smiled. There is a volcano right under the 7 Stars mountain. When I fell from the cliff, I grabbed a vine and discovered the volcanic cave. That snake was also discovered in that cave. She added, Grandfather, I will draw a map for everyone later. Please go there and have a look. Jie Gu happily laughed. It's truly a blessing from heaven for our Jie family. That old man Tonghua Shu, this time he will regret it so much it will twist his insides. Lingyage, you are indeed the lucky star of our Jie family. Jie Lingyage playfully stuck out her tongue. It's what Lingyage should do. Jie Gu looked at her with some sadness. After all these years, I have wronged you and your mother. You too have suffered. Jie Lingyage smiled. The Jie family took in me and my mother, and I remember all the kindness. Jie Gu sighed. We are all family, no need to mention these things. Lingyage, for now, don't let anyone know that we can remove the moss. Tonghua Shu wants to see us in dire straits, right? This time we will show him who will die first. He turned and ordered, go and call Huang Shu here, tell him I have something to instruct. Jie Lingyage turned to see everyone removing the frost grass. She approached Dai Bucie and asked, what do you plan to do with the frost grass? Jie Shang firmly said, I plan to burn it. Jie Lingyage continued, Big brother, could you give me some of this frost grass? Jie Shang was a bit surprised. These things can't be eaten, what do you need them for? Jie Lingyage winked, I have my own use for them. Jie Shang smiled, if you want them, then take them. Jie Lingyage turned around, waving her hand as she left, not forgetting to say, thank you, big brother. Someone, take this frost grass to the Zhao Su Wen. Jie Shang watched her leave with a happy thought. Lingyage is indeed the lucky star of our Jie family. At the Zhao Su Wen, Jie Lingyage excitedly looked at the thriving frost grass in front of her. She extended her hand and said loudly, collect. The sound startled Chit Chit and Xiao Ka. Chit Chit, excited, flew to the frost grass, eagerly bit a piece, and then hopelessly vomited it out. Seeing Chit Chit's adorable actions, Jie Lingyage lovingly hugged it and said, you glutton, you can't eat this. These are all protective measures I use to deal with the Tong family. At this moment, an anxious subordinate reported, Cho Fu has just discovered a sealed well nearby. As soon as it was opened, an ant came out and bit him. Jie Lingyage sat down to examine it, using a knife to cut open the skin, revealing purple blood. She concluded, the poison is indeed strong. She stood up and ordered, you all carry the sick ones to get treated first, I'll be back soon. Jie Lingyage approached the well and calmly picked up an ant to examine it. She said, to untie a knot, you need to find who tied it. According to the book in Hong Mong, once poisoned, you need to find the source of the poison. For snakes, use scorpion blood, for ants, burn them and apply the ashes to the wound. She used magic to turn the ant in her hand into dust. Jie Lingyage was excited, it worked. Outside, the servants were delighted to see her come out. Miss is out. Jie Lingyage handed over a small bag, apply this to the wounds. Observe carefully, and when the poison is gone, wash with salt water. The servants happily accepted, yes, yes. One servant asked, Miss, should we seal the well? Jie Lingyage replied cheerfully, no need. I'll check the situation first, and you come to help. With that, she turned and went back inside. A short while later, at the well, everyone worked together using magic to seal the well. Jie Lingyage thought to herself, this cold air is unexpectedly powerful. No wonder the Tong family sealed it off deliberately. Fortunately, my magic can control the spreading cold air. The well was now uncovered, and Jie Lingyage stood up, alert, everyone, step back. I need to go down. Without hesitation, she jumped down. The worried servants tried to stop her, Miss. Quickly go inform the master. Below the well, Jie Lingyage, holding a torch, looked around. It's fortunate that I have the magic and red sun ginseng, otherwise, I would be doomed. Before her were sparkling mineral veins. Suddenly, an ant crawled up from behind her. Just as she was puzzled by the strange cold stones below, Chit Chit jumped from her and quickly exterminated the ant. Jieling Yage joyfully hugged it. Little Chit-Chit is so amazing. I'll reward you with a chicken leg when we get out. Chit-Chit snuggled against her, claiming its reward. Jieling Yage returned to the matter at hand, looking around and assessing. The energy below the well is indeed strong. Sensing something, Jieling Yage turned around and used her sword to sever a poisonous vine reaching out. Before her was a giant scorpion encased in mineral rocks. Jieling Yage exclaimed in surprise, "What it is?" The scorpion advanced toward her step by step. Jieling Yage continuously threw her throwing daggers. "Go away." Above, Jiegu, the head of the family, looked at the well in shock. "Ling Yage, this child is really reckless." Jie Huangshang beside him remarked, "It's her own fault." Suddenly, they fell silent as Jieling Yage climbed back up the well, dazed. Jiegu quickly supported her and scolded, "Ling Yage, you were too reckless." Jieling Yage cheerfully responded, "Grandfather, there is a black misty jade vein below the well." Jiegu was astonished. "What? Ling Yage, are you sure it's a black misty jade vein?" Recalling her memory, Jieling Yage kicked the scorpion in frustration. It was really hard to handle. She turned to Chit-Chit, "Did you find anything?" Little Chit-Chit then led her to a place where Jieling Yage was amazed. "Heavens, it's a black misty jade vein." With that memory concluded, Jiegu, Jie Huangsheng, and Jie Huangwan also descended into the well. Seeing the scene before them, they were stunned. "I didn't expect it to be real. With this jade vein, the Tong family will definitely not be able to compete with us." Jie Huangshang looked around in admiration. "Not bad. With the black misty jade here, just by selling it outside, not only will we secure the Fengzhen, but even people in the city won't dare to underestimate the Jie family." Jiegu suddenly declared, "I don't plan to exploit the jade vein extensively." Jie Huangshang asked in confusion, "Why not?" Jiegu stroked his beard and said, "Not bad. I plan to exploit a small portion of the black misty jade vein and send it to Huintan to make black misty pills, which will benefit the family's disciples who have reached the 5th level of body training and above. From now on, any disciple of the Jie family who breaks through, including all of you, will need to enter the jade vein for secluded training." Jie Huangwan bowed. "Father is right. The black misty jade vein must be kept strictly confidential. I will inform Ling Yage later." Jiegu patted his shoulder. "Huangwan, this time going to Huintan, I plan to let Tan Ni and Ling Yage go along." Jie Huangwan naturally had no objections. Where no one could see, Jieling Yage triumphantly held the jade piece. With such a long jade vein, taking a few thousand pieces shouldn't be a problem. After all, it's a vein I discovered. Jieling Yage began to slowly refine the jade in her hand. However, the magic in her hand turned the jade directly into dust. Jieling Yage was incredulous. Failed? But she quickly regained her confidence and tried again. Half an hour later, Jieling Yage carefully used her power to finally change the last piece of jade. She excitedly exclaimed, "It's the Black Misty Dan." Second-grade Black Misty Dan, though a bit ugly, is still impressive to refine. 7 days later, in Jie Huangwi's room, Jieling Yage joyfully looked around to ensure no one was present, then examined the black misty pill in her hand, marveling, "It's worth the time I spent refining this pill. Mother will recover quickly." She placed the pill into a teapot, thinking, "Mother, you must get better soon." At that moment, someone came in and called her name. Jieling Yage, covered in dust, turned around. Jie Shang smiled and said, "Tomorrow, you and I, along with father, will go into the city." Jieling Yage asked in surprise, "Into the city?" Jie Shang replied, "Yes, the head of the family said we should go to broaden our horizons and also learn how to buy and sell mysterious." Jieling Yage performed a bow. "Thank you, cousin, for letting me know." She thought to herself, "It seems there is a society of cultivators in Xian City. This is a great opportunity to expand my horizons." The next morning, outside the mansion, Jieling Yage hugged Jie Huangwi and instructed, "While I'm away, please take good care of yourself." Jie Huangwi affectionately hugged her. "I know, you little rascal." Jie Shang, in the carriage, lifted the curtain and reminded, "Ling Yage, it's time to set off." Jieling Yage ran while waving, "Take care, mother." Jie Huangwi smiled and waved back, "Be safe." She was secretly happy, thinking, Ling Yage has really grown up. At the Song family, Tong Wanshu asked angrily, "Did Jie Huangwan take the carriage to Dark City? How strange, the North Workshop has been destroyed. Did the Jie family sell there or?" Master Lin, while blowing on his tea, answered, "It must be or from the storeroom from previous years. The Song family need not worry, I have some spies in the city. We'll find out soon enough." Tong Guangqi frowned and said, "Father, I heard that the idiot who caused the death of the second younger brother is also in that convoy." should I go and deal with her? Tong Wanshu's face darkened as he replied, such matters don't need you to handle personally. She's just a lowly being. When the time comes, have someone in Dark City destroy her dantian and sell her to a pleasure house to make a fool of the Jie family. Tong Guangqi was very satisfied with this plan. As expected, father's methods are brilliant. I'll arrange it immediately. He silently swore, Jieling Yage, I will make you pay with blood for the blood debt and use your head as a sacrifice for my second younger brother. At this moment, Jieling Yage was completely unaware of the impending danger and looked forward to Dark City with anticipation. At a rest stop, Jieshang approached and asked, little cousin, why is your carriage so cool? Jieling Yage, while eating melon and handing another piece to him, replied, it's all thanks to the ice-condensing grass that my eldest cousin gave me. Jieshang took a bite, the melon is really sweet. Where did you get it? Jieling Yage answered, you can't buy this melon on the street. Suddenly, a voice came from afar, oh no, someone has fallen into the water. On a nearby boat, there was indeed the sound of something heavy falling into the water. Jieling Yage and Jieshang ran to the boat. People were bustling around the person who had been rescued. Quick, find a doctor. To the shore, hurry. An elderly man with white hair shouted, heroes, is there anyone among you who is a physician? Our young master has fallen into the water. Is there anyone who knows how to perform first aid? Jie Huangwan spoke up, old man, we have a doctor in our group, but he only knows about treating external injuries. The old man anxiously replied, a doctor is fine, quickly invite him onto the boat. A moment later, Jieling Yage and her group stood in front of the room. Jieling Yage stepped forward, lifted the curtain, and saw the flawless, chiseled face of the unconscious man, which made her blush and exclaim, he looks quite handsome. The doctor quickly took his pulse, falling into the water for about 15 minutes, it's too late to save him now. The old man was shocked, what should we do? Jieling Yage spoke up, eldest cousin, I read in a book about a method to save someone who has fallen into the water. Why don't I give it a try? Jie Huangwan asked, Ling Yage, can you do it? The old man, not thinking much, urgently agreed, young lady, if you have any way, please try. Our young master must not come to harm. Jieling Yage approached the bed and ordered, the surroundings of the person who fell into the water must be cleared of unrelated people. The old man quickly responded, everyone, out. Out now. Once the people had left, Jieling Yage began using her abilities. The man on the bed frowned slightly, and Jieling Yage's abilities were suddenly repelled. She was a bit surprised. The old man at the door spoke, Miss, I forgot to mention, our young master has been suffering from a cold physique since childhood, lower than those with hot physiques. Jieling Yage moved closer and pulled his clothes away. The old man couldn't help but say, Miss, men and women should not touch each other. Jieling Yage angrily retorted, what time is it to still worry about such matters? She placed her hands correctly on his chest and pressed, 1, 2, 3. She called out, eldest cousin, my strength isn't enough, you do it. Jieshang quickly entered. Jieling Yage instructed, press down on this spot until he expels the water. Jieshang responded, got it. Half an hour later, the person on the bed finally showed some signs of life. He coughed continuously, and the old man shouted, young master. Where are the people? He struggled to sit up, coughing out water. A pill was quickly brought to him. Jieling Yage, witnessing this scene, thought, isn't this the red ginseng from before? Did the masked person seek the red ginseng to save this unfortunate young master? The frail man spoke up, Master, I apologize for causing you concern. I only stepped outside for a breath of fresh air because I was feeling uncomfortable on the boat. I don't know if it was because of the strong wind, but I suddenly fell into the water. He looked up at Jieling Yage and said, thank you for saving me. However, upon seeing her, his face turned bright red, and he stammered, Master Mu, please give some gold leaf to this young lady. Jieling Yage was not polite, thank you then. He introduced himself, I am Feng Zhen. I am currently recuperating in Li City. If you have time, you are welcome to visit the Fuang residence on Z Bamboo Street. Jie Huangwan clasped his hands, then we will not disturb you further. Tan Ni, Ling Yage, let's go. Jieling Yage waved goodbye, hope to meet again. Feng Zhen smiled and said goodbye. In the main hall, Master Mu scolded loudly, you wretches. Young master fell into the water today, where were you all? The servants below had no excuse, hoping to be forgiven. Feng Zhen also spoke up, Master, they were just negligent. The servants seemed to have anticipated this and breathed a sigh of relief. Master Mu said loudly, young master, the country has its laws, and the family has its rules. The regulations of the Fuang residence must not be ruined by them. Feng Zhen, with an unchanged expression, ordered, since that is the case, take the three of them away for a warning. Take them away. The three people pointed out turned pale, one of them loudly pleaded, young master, spare us. We are innocent. Today was not our watch. Feng Zhen approached them, speaking calmly, if it was not your watch, why did all three of you appear on the boat at the same time? The person was shocked by this keen observation. After Feng Zhen finished speaking, he turned and ordered, take them outside and beat them to death. Master Mu beside him quickly shouted, hurry, take them away. After a while, as Feng Zhen was resting with his eyes closed, Master Mu spoke up, young master, do you need another piece of red sun ginseng? Feng Zhen opened his eyes with an expressionless face, I don't know if my cold has worsened, but I feel like this red sun ginseng doesn't have the same effect as before. Master Mu said, young master need not worry, the celestial doctors will eventually cure this cold. Feng Zhen waved his hand, you may leave now, I want to rest for a while. Outside Li City, Huang Jiahian, the fifth son of the Jia family, cheerfully approached and said, big brother, this is, Jia Huangwan introduced, not familiar, right? This is the daughter of the third sister. Father instructed me to bring her into the city to broaden her horizons. Jia Shang also spoke to Jieling Yage, you should address him as the fifth uncle. Although his cultivation is not high, he has great talent in business and is responsible for the transactions of black iron ore in Li City. Jieling Yage thought to herself, he seems friendly and easy to get along with. Huang Jiahian extended his hand, welcome to Li City. Today I am working in the east, let's go to the drunken immortal house in the center of the city for a meal. Then he turned to Jieling Yage, Ling Yage, if you want anything to eat later, feel free to order, don't be polite with the fifth uncle. Jieling Yage smiled, thank you, fifth uncle. At the drunken immortal house, everyone was eating and chatting animatedly. Chit-Chit on Jieling Yage's shoulder was making noise, and when she offered it food, it turned its face away. Huang Jiahian, intrigued, asked, Ling Yage, the fifth uncle's memory is poor. Is your little beast a spirit beast? Jieling Yage stroked Chit-Chit's head and happily replied, I found it in the mountains. I'm not sure what kind of spirit beast it is, but it looked pleasant and seemed destined, so I kept it. Huang Jiahian suggested, if you have time, you could visit the spirit beast shop in the city to find out what kind of spirit beast it is. Chit-Chit also agreed with a sound, and Jieling Yage laughed, that sounds fun. Just then, a group of people entered the restaurant, and the atmosphere became silent. Huang Jiahian recognized, they are from the Alchemist Association. One of them arrogantly said, this table is reserved for Master Huang. You people, get out of the way. Jia Huangwan quietly stopped, don't provoke them. Huang Jiahian cheerfully stood up, so it's really Master Huang. I'm sorry, we'll move to another table. Master Huang, also known as Huang Qi, mocked, I thought it was someone important, but it's just Huang Jiahian. So, is the Jia family bringing black iron ore into the city again? Let me tell you, don't bring Jia family's trash to the Alchemist Association. We won't accept any black iron ore that's below 5 parts quality. Jieling Yage frowned and stood up, secretly using her ability to spread something on the chair. Then she left with everyone, thinking to herself, let's see how you deal with this. At the restaurant, Huang Jiahian sipped his tea, put it down, and explained, that person is an alchemist from Li City, named Huang. Previously, when the Jia family sold black iron ore to the Alchemist Association, he was the one in charge. Since we refused to give him any benefits, he has always made things difficult for the Jia family. Jia Shang frowned slightly, and Jieling Yage also looked up attentively. Meanwhile, Huang Qi and his group were happily eating and drinking, counting 1, 2, 3, then raising their glasses. Jieling Yage watched Huang Qi with interest. One of them said, Miss Zhou is very beautiful, next time I'll bring you. Suddenly he stopped, his face contorted, what's going on? Why is it so itchy? Huang Qi kept scratching his back, and those around him were worried, what's wrong, Master Huang? Huang Qi scratched more vigorously, crying out in pain, it's so itchy. It's unbearable. Everyone worriedly said, quick, take Master Huang back to the Alchemist Association. Jia Shang, seeing this scene, muttered, serves him right. Jieling Yage covered her mouth and secretly smiled, this is freezing poison. Just a little contact makes you itch all over. By then, you'll be living in hell. At the Feng residence, Master Mu asked worriedly, how is young Master's condition? Head of the Lu Association stroked his beard and answered seriously, young Master Feng is only suffering from a cold, compounded by internal cold poison, which is causing his discomfort. Master Mu was at a loss for words, then what about the cold condition of young Master? Head Lu sighed, there's nothing more I can do, Feng Zhen, lying on the bed, weakly smiled, Master, don't make it difficult for Head Lu. I have my own plans for my health. At that moment, a paper crane flew in through the window and landed on Head Lu's hand. He opened it and read, "This is a message crane from the Alchemist Association." Feng Zhen said, "I've heard that the Alchemist Association's method of transmitting messages is very special. It's indeed novel to see it today." The paper crane had the message, "Master Huang's body seems to be poisoned. Please return to the Alchemist Association urgently." After reading it, he made the crane disappear and bowed, "I'm truly sorry, both of you. The Alchemist Association has an urgent matter, I must return immediately." Feng Zhen smiled, "It's fine, Head Lu. If you have urgent matters, please go ahead." Head Lu then brought out another paper crane. "It seems young master is very interested in these message cranes. I have an extra one that I don't need. If young master doesn't mind, I'd like to give it to you." Feng Zhen accepted it without hesitation and examined it. "Thank you, Head Lu." At the Alchemist Association, the attendant saw Head Lu and hurried over. "Head, you've finally returned." On the bed, Huang Qi was grimacing in pain, his body covered in blood. Head Lu was shocked. "What poison is this? From Zhong Yuan?" An alchemist replied, "Head, the heretic sects are known for making poisons. These people who only know how to harm others have come to Li City." Huang Qi groaned in pain. "It's so unfair, I didn't offend anyone, I was just sitting in the drunken immortal house having a meal." Chairman Lu's expression was serious as he reached a conclusion. "The poison you have is a water-based poison. It has penetrated deep into the bones and is very difficult to completely remove. To save his life, the only option is to amputate the lower part of his body." The alchemist was horrified. "Amputate his legs?" Chairman Lu remained calm. "You all proceed. To save his life, this is the only option left." The alchemist, with no other choice, could only comply.